celebration, even though I look very, very tired, and I am very, very tired. But this is a very big celebration because we have officially hit over 15,000 members of our community. Ise. First and foremost, who's in the house right now? Let me hear who's in the house right now. Ndewonu, ndewonu. This is not my usual setup. I have been flying around the country, primarily visiting family. And so I would have done this live on Saturday, and I would have done this at a different time, but this is the best my schedule at the moment can permit. So who is currently in the house? As always, this is Derek Ofadaroma with the Medicine Shell. I teach Igbo cosmology, spirituality, and culture here on the Medicine Shell. And this is a topic that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button as soon as possible. This is Ask Me Anything. Once we get, let's say, once we get 15 people in the live, we're going to go ahead and begin. I wish I could be more hype for everybody, but I've been moving around a lot this whole month. Yeah, it's a very good problem to have, and I'm very tired right now. He say. Why can't I see the chat, or is nobody saying anything? Hold on. Let me see if I can turn the chat. I can see the little hearts. Hey, well, damn, we're at 10 already. Okay, hold on. Let me try to turn on the chat. There you guys are. Okay. Scotty Collins. Whoa. Yo, I saw your recommendation. I saw your comment on that Rhodesia. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, shout out to you, man. Yeah, I'm on these comment streets every now and then. And then what? They're out here typing essays trying to debunk me. And then, well, all right, we've already hit 15. And then, well, that was quick. Hey, y'all, we are celebrating, reticulating. Ndewo, Treehouse Collects. Collective Villa. Ndewo. Emeka, Ndewo, Nwanne. Udo dịrị gị, Udo dịrị gị. We've hit 15, so let me go ahead and begin. I am not in my normal home. Some of you guys might actually recognize where I'm at, and some of you guys might not. Otherwise, yeah, I don't have my normal setup right now, so I don't have OG, so we will break OG without OG anyways, okay? So, Adema, Kambido, Okike Keruwa. Alawala, ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ, ala na-enye ndụ na-enye nke ọma dị n'ụwa. Ọnwa nne abalị, ọnwa nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ, ọnwa bụ ọma ka anyị siri bịa, ọnwa bụ obi anyị siri bịa, ọnwa bụ anwụ anyị siri bịa, nne ọma, nne na-enye udo, nne na-eme ka anyị na-afụ n'abalị. Aji obiọma na-ekele gị. Ajikwara obiọma na-ekele ụmụ ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ. Jikwa obiọma na-ekele ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Ejikwa m obiọma na-ekele mmụọ na-esoro anyị na mmụọ anyị ga-afụ ebe anyị na-aga. Owe obiọma anyị ji na-ekele ụnụ niile. Eji m anya na-afụ ụnụ. Eji m obi na-afụ ụnụ. Eji mmadụ na-afụ ụnụ. Eji mmụọ na-afụ ụnụ. Ana m afụ ụnụ na nta, fụ ụnụ n'imo, fụ ụnụ na eke, fụ ụnụ n'orie, fụ ụnụ n'afọ, fụ ụnụ n'nkwọ. Ejikwere m obi ọma na-afụkwa ụnụ niile, mana anyị bụ otu obi, otu aka, otu mmụọ, otu ije n'ụwa, maka Chineke kere anyị ka anyị gaa ya. Nke ọbụla Chineke si ga-adị, enwe onye ga-asị na ọ gaghị adị. Nke bụ nke anyị, ka anyị jisie ike ya gaa ya, otu aka ọ ga-adị. Eke, orie, afọ, nkwọ, ise. All right, ndewo. Guys, I'm gonna really try for this one. I'm really tired. Odi Odugo. Okay, Odugo, kedu ka ị dị nwanne? Kedu ka ị dị? What does phono mean in Igbo? You were saying it a lot. Okay, so I said phono, phono. So phono means to see you guys. So what I said was I greet everybody in attendance. I see you with my eyes. I see you with my heart. I see you in person. I see you in spirit, right? So that's what I said. I see you because we are one. We are on one journey. We are on the journey that our creator, Chineke, created for us to walk. Because Chineke created this journey for us and said, yes, no force in the world can say no. It will be this way on Eke, Urie, Afo, Nkwo, Ise. So that is what I said today. But all right, you guys, we have this is a special live for me because this moon, I also took time to greet and thank this moon, Onwa. So because this moon has been really good for us as a community. We passed 15,000 subscribers and 500 patrons. So the movement is moving, the village is strong, the village is growing, the village is thriving. So every single person here, some of you guys' names I've been seeing since the very beginning. I really want to thank you guys. This is incredible. You guys have given me community on a different level. And I'm personally striving to make sure that I'm providing that for you guys as well. It's become more than learning about Igbo spirituality. It's we really do have a community. I've seen you guys go to each other's concerts, each other's art shows. I've seen you guys connect with each other. People have connected and found mentors and counselors and all kinds of really cool stuff. So yeah, this is the only movement moving, man. I'm super proud to be um, uh, to play the role I play within it. And just again, the fact that I see some of you, I've been seeing some of you guys' names for a long time. The fact that I know that some of you guys are monikers. I know who Reticulating Spleens is. I know who Aurora is. I know I like. It's just cool, man. So thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and begin. I know it's probably very late for a lot of people. I'm on the West Coast right now. Um, but if you are awake and you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, if you want to just chill, that's cool. As always, with Ask Me Anything, I am here for as long as you have questions. Once the questions run out, I dip out. So it looks like everybody just hanging out, you know. Does he say mean the same as I say? I can very confidently say yes. He say and I say are the same thing. He say and I say are the same thing. It's just uh, two different languages pronouncing it different. Just like German, willkommen, English, welcome, same thing. But yeah, Ise and Ase are the same thing. Igbo people say Ise, we say Ise. Yoruba people say Ase. So I think most people were introduced to African spirituality through Ifa. So a lot of people say Ase, and so forth. That are in Yoruba as well. Odemma. Olo otu mere. Ademma nwanne, kedu ka ị mere nwanne? Ihe ukwu mere, kedu ka ị dị nwanne? Aha, Jishikeno. Can you speak on what ete is from Scotty? But I'm curious too. Oh, Scotty, did I miss your question? Let me go to the very beginning and see if I'm missing questions, okay? I am fried, guys. I'm just very tired right now, but we're gonna do this one. Can you speak more on ete? Absolutely. So ete, I've gained new knowledge on ete, and I'll go ahead and share it here too, but I'll eventually go in more in depth in a video about ete, right? So in the process of creation, right? If you can imagine, okay, Chineke is the creator, Chi the father, right, or the unseen, Eke the mother, the seen. Together they form all of being, all of creation, all of existence, right? Now the thing to understand is that Chineke, if in your cosmic imagination you can see them as two things, but you can also see them as the mado and the more of one organism, if that makes sense. The mud and the more of one organism, or the physical and the spirit of one organism. And that one organism, in that one organism, all of its parts and pieces are connected because we are all part of one organism known as Eke, the universe. We are all part of one universe known as Eke, and we are all connected to this existence and to each other by way of unseen strings known as ete. unseen strings known as ete. My ete connects to everything around me and you guys connect to me, and so on and so forth. And then the ete also connects to the mother and it connects to the father. And because we have this ete connection to each other and in the entire world, we receive impulses flowing through it at all times, like traffic, known as ose, ose, ose. Okay, these are hard to translate it, but these are vibrations or sparks of intention, right? And so ose is flying through people back and forth. There are different types of ose. Uche, wisdom, is in ose. Ako, intellect, is in ose. And together those two make sentience, awareness, thinking, that kind of thing. Life is one. So there's these rivers that flow through. But then your ete is also, you will also follow your ete, right? Your ete is also a string that you are or a river that you as a person are following from beginning to end. And we are calling that journey on that river life. We're calling it life. You're going to begin at one point, you're going to end at another point. You're going to reemerge from that same string or from the same string family known as your market day. So in the cosmic imagination of our people, Ete gets imagined as a string, like a set of strings that connect people, or a set of roads that connect people, or a set of rivers that connect people, right? And so when you figure out your market day is also your ete. Now, the new knowledge I have gained is that ete and more are semi-synonymous. They are semi-synonymous, okay? Ete and spirit are semi-synonymous, and all of our spirits are interconnected to each other like a single web, a single organism. Ete is also organized, created, redistributed by Udide Okanka, which is the cosmic spider. But we have also realized that this is Agon. Udide Okanka is Agon at its highest form. So, thank you very much for that question, Scotty. My bad for missing it. I already mentioned that. Speak on the Ete. Can you speak on Ete? Cool, cool. I think I already did that. My grandma passed. Okay, hi, my grandma. Sam, I'm hearing what you're saying, and I feel for you, and I feel for your family. The fact that she was a grandmother, is a beautiful and a wonderful thing. It's awesome that she was able to see her children have children. Um, there's an ilu. I don't know your situation, but there's an ilu in my culture that says, a successful life is one where your children and your children's children, um, what's the word for it? When your children and your children's children do what we call buru buru, right? Buru buru means if you arrive somewhere and they all gather around you, or if you can ever have like a gathering or something where all of your generations are around you and so forth. So I hope that before passing, she was adequately surrounded by family, and I commend you for sharing that. Thank you very much. I feel for you. But the grandchildren to me is a sign of a great life. Ademma. Derek, are you sure you're just tired because those eyes look more high to me? No, 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 I'm not high. If I were, I'd tell you I'm not. I'm just very, very tired. Ademma. Someone in the previous live said Adibia told them women in Odinani, as compared to men, don't really have to do rituals. Do you know anything about this? Is it like likeness of, okay, so most people don't really have to do rituals, right? The average human being does not have to do rituals. One of the things that happens is because rituals are such a lot. I mean, like when I say rituals, I mean like kind of the more higher level rituals, like you just regular everyday normal rituals, fine. But those higher level rituals are like it's like surgery, right? It's like a leg transplant. These are things that happen like extreme situations, very specific circumstances, and so forth. The average person doesn't really have to do rituals because rituals are so there's a theater to them, and they're very visual, and they touch all senses. They become the face of African spirituality, but it's not necessary for everybody. Now, as far as women go, a lot of the things men do ritual wise, women don't have to do it because the man is simulating female power in doing that, right? That's what the person's trying to do, is simulate female power. Um, what was I going to say? But yeah, for the most part, the average person doesn't really have to do rituals, right? I mean, the higher power rituals, like regular stuff like, Udochi, greeting the sun, breaking cola, all these different ones. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? But the average person really doesn't have to do any rituals at all. Oh, damn. Do Igbo people have a story of the beginning? I'm reading Indaba, the Children of Africa folk tales, Credo Metwa, and in his book he speaks of a story from the Bantu people. Just yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot of stories about what happened in the beginning. It pay attention to the beats of the story, because the beats of the story, and I'll just tell you this right now, you can find any story and show me if I'm wrong, but the beats of the story is always a male element and a female element, and then the male element is doing something and the female element is kind of like, hey, what are you doing, what are you doing, and then the male element, somehow some way, the female element dies and disperses and scatters, right? So I told a story on my channel. Odachi Nebere. Odachi Nebere is the story, but you can hear the story in my video, in a few of my videos actually, but I think the first one I told it in was the very first video I made on this channel, which was how God was created, something along that line. It's the very first video I made on this channel, how God was created. It tells that story completely. So that story it has all the beats. It's just every community, every person you go to, they're gonna tell a version of that story, right? So their version might be like, um, usually like, okay, so for example, I'll just tell the story. So in the beginning, everything was a singularity known as Alma. Alma. Everything was one. We were in the world of ones known as Wautu, right? The world of ones. Everything was a singular. And then the chi element of that singularity separated itself from the rest, which is the eke element, right? The chi element is the father, the unseen, the masculine. The eke is the seen, the feminine, the existential. And so those two elements separate each other from each other. The chi element then begins this project of building a four-walled chamber where he's working on something in secret. He is entering the chamber each time. He is entering the chamber, entering backwards, and he is exiting backwards, right? And so his wife is sitting on the sidelines and she is given the instruction, do not look inside of this chamber. And so she is sitting there, and the chi is going inside and outside and inside and outside and inside and outside and so forth. And so one day, the wife decides that she is going to take it upon herself to occupy her time. So she starts weaving a ball of yarn, and the chi continues to go inside, outside, and so forth. And she decides, okay, you know what? Once he leaves, I'm going to see what's going on in there. So one day, the chi went inside, and then he went outside. And when he got far enough, the Eke put down her ball of yarn. She stepped to the chamber. She held the door, opened it, and a huge explosion came out. Boom! It made the sound wow, right? And so the explosion blew her to pieces. All of her body scattered in all these different directions. And that created the universe that we are in today, that is constantly expanding and it's shattered. Wa literally means, it means universe, but etymologically it says a shattered, something that's shattered, a shattered vessel or measurement of shattered, right? And so this shattered universe started scattering in all these different pieces. And the chi element came home. He saw that his wife had died from what she saw in the chamber, and he began to cry. And so, as he cried, he buried her in a shroud of tears. Now, in universal law, what is buried will return. And so, after she was buried in the tears, she came back to life as Allah, which is the earth. So, the earth is a reincarnation of her mother, which is the universe. The universe is that original shattered force. The first mother, the earth, is the second mother, but also the third member of creation. That is why in the Igbo market day system, Eke Urie, Afo is third, right? Afo is third. Eke is Chineke, right? They're both in that house. And then Urie is that water that came and covered her. And then Afo is the earth, right? And so she came back as the earth. And then there's, if you follow Igbo folklore, it keeps going and going and going, and you can place things in their different time slots, which are the four world ages and things like that. Um, but that's a general story. Now there are different versions of the story. One version, he comes home and sees her looking, gets mad and starts ripping her apart, and then gets sad at what he did and starts crying. Another version, they're both attached, and the chi is trying to build something upwards, and the Eke keeps tickling him. I'll tell this whole version in a different story. Keeps tickling him, and he keeps descending downwards. And so he realizes that in order to ascend, he has to shed off the Eke. And so he rips the Eke off of him and rips it to pieces, or rips her to pieces and scatters and so on and so forth. So there's, and then her different parts become the different parts of the universe. So there's the general creation story always follows kind of, you typically follows this beat of one thing working on another, the other thing kind of either disrupting or wanting to know what's going on, and then some type of destruction of the feminine element and a reincarnation of the feminine element into the earth, right? So, Ademma. Oh, boy, boy, boy. It's like a spiritual nervous system. Damn. All right. I like that. Perfect. Yes. Ete is like, is a 100%. Ete is a spiritual nervous system. Perfect. Ademma. How about now about the ancient Egyptian situation? I don't know what you mean by that. What is your favorite Ilu? Ah, damn. Okay, that's a good question. My favorite Ilu is, it's probably one that you guys hear me use a lot, but I just, nothing's coming to mind right now. My favorite Ilu. One of my favorite Ilu is, I'll say one of, because this is the one of my top ones that comes to mind is, so long as my Ikenga is awake, I can wrestle in the world of spirits. So long as my Ikenga is awake, I can wrestle in the world of spirits, right? I like it because um, it speaks to one of the things I really love about Odinani, where I see a lot of different like understanding of spirituality, and there's sometimes there's like intimidation by spirit, where like you're less than spirit, and spirit is like, so if you're talking to like a deity or whatever, you're scared, but very much a part of Odinani, right? If you're equipped, if you're ready to deal with it, you can deal with it. Like you can face it face to face. There's no fear. Like you're not afraid of things. So the Ilu comes from the story of Ojadili. Ojadili is I'm now learning a series of stories that are told by children. It's like an archetype of a very strong, powerful wrestler. And sometimes the story is about his arrogance. Sometimes the story is about persistence. Sometimes the story is about his ikenga, that kind of thing. And so the story in this story, Ojadili defeats everybody on Earth, right? He defeats all the humans. He defeats the gorillas. He defeats everybody. He defeats spirits, that kind of thing, right? So then he decides that since nothing on Earth is great enough for his ability, that he's going to wrestle in the world of spirits. And he was told that in the world of spirits, that once you enter the world of spirits, you do not return, right? But then he tells them that so long as my Ikenga is alive, I can do that. I can wrestle in the world of spirits. So it just speaks to the power of the human being, even in face of spirit. So I like that. There's a lot of them. Like there's some that I like more than that. There's just nothing coming to my mind right now, but that's one of them that I really love. Odemma. Um, Nice to be a part of this exposition. Frederick Ani, very, very good. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being a part of it. I like your setup. It feels captivating and personal. Yeah, yeah, this is nice, right? I'll try to replicate this um, when I get back to like my normal home, right? I'm in the home of a more experienced YouTuber, so. But yeah, I like this too. It's really nice. When I turned the camera, I was like, "Oh damn, this is like this is a vibe." So I think this is what this is. This fits me a little more as a human. Oops, hold on. From my understanding, this piece is not stagnant. It is movement as well as chaos. Hey, all smiles being there. Well, I think you're building on what you had said last maybe last 2 weeks, honestly. Do peace and chaos need each other to move? Okay, do peace and chaos need each other to move, or can they move independent of each other? Do peace and chaos need each other to move, or do they move independent of each other? This is very, very abstract. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Do peace and chaos need each other to move, or do they move independent of each other? Independent of each other. Okay, so there is, in my view, and I'll explain why. In my view, I don't really believe in chaos in the sense that it's presented maybe more traditionally. I believe that the order of the universe is so vast, so intertwined, so complex, so filled with friction and overpassing and bypassing and so forth, that from a bird's eye view, it looks chaotic. And from a bird's eye view, you can call it chaos. But of that chaos is order. That chaos is order. If you look at the functions of my body, if you write them all down on a piece of paper, like down to the molecular level, it is what you would call chaos. But that chaos is what creates peace. So I don't think peace and chaos move independent of each other. I think there's this idea of peace as an absence of chaos, and that type of peace is, and it's like it's an anomaly as far as a natural feature, and because it's an anomaly, it's not real and it doesn't last, if that makes sense. I'll use the example of how a lot of spirits are dealt with as far as Odinani goes, right? In Odinani, it's very hard to find a situation where, let's say, somebody is like possessed by something, or there's a certain spirit on them that they want to separate from. It's very hard to find a situation where the person is like trying to destroy that spirit, or is advised to destroy that spirit or get rid of it, right? What we're trying to do is understand, what do you want, that particular thing, what does it want, you understand, from this person? What does this person want? How can we bypass each other peacefully so that there is not this going on and we're blocking each other's way, right? So that peaceful bypassing, that the fact that you, even though you to me are a possessive evil force, you are worthy of existence and I am worthy of existence because the thing that created us is not wrong, right? So how do we get to our destinations without jamming each other in traffic? You understand? So as that is happening, if you zoom out, this is happening beyond and in trillions of different interactions and bypassings and so forth. And so long as that bypassing continues to happen, you have peace. Now, what we have in our head, like if you look at like a traffic, if you look at traffic, if you look at the flow of blood in your body, if you look at the functions of all your organs, everything does its thing. And if one thing gets in the way of the other, you have a problem, right? But if you have a peace that is an absence of this exchange and this flow, right? Something is being suppressed. Something's being suppressed. It could be something that we've defined as bad. It can be something that we have defined as problematic on the surface level. And we say, well, that's bad, let's suppress it. Something's being suppressed. The chi of that thing created it to move in a certain direction. You can delay its movement, but you can't change or eliminate it. Igbo say destiny can be delayed, but it can't be changed, very literally. So eventually that peace that we have defined as an absence of chaos is going to break because it's not real. It doesn't exist in nature. There's nowhere in nature where there's this vacuum of being, right? Or vacuum of essence or that kind of thing, or intention. It doesn't exist. And so, yeah, it's unnatural. So I think that peace and chaos have to move with each other, move in tandem, because that chaos is the peace. Okay. So that's that. Thank you for that, man. That was abstract as hell. I'm surprised I had brain cells for it, Udo. Messi or Ronaldo? I'm going to say Ronaldo, but I don't watch too much soccer. I just don't like Argentina. I'm just gonna say, so I'm gonna say Ronaldo. But I do. I have been informed that Messi is the better player. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Do you think that the four-walled chamber could have been a pyramid? I've been reading through Leopards and a Magic Dawn, and he mentions the four-walled chamber meeting in a point. Oh, okay. Well, damn. Two, three, four. That could be a pyramid. I've always pictured it as a squared room, but a pyramid makes perfect sense. A pyramid makes perfect sense. Yeah, and the author of that book is a very, 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 very gifted person, so I would not doubt what he's saying. But yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, that makes sense. I've never thought about it, but that's dope. They never mention a ceiling. Yeah, you're right. It's always just about the walls, right? It's always just about the walls. And I always picture having a ceiling. But in all reality, if I had a ceiling, it would be five. It's a five-walled chamber. Yeah. I just learned something today. Thank you. Thank you, articulating. Igbos originated from migrations from ancient Egypt. The book After God, we did not come from Egypt. We do not come from Egypt. We are older than what you know as Egypt. This is a confirmed archaeological fact. We do not come from, there's more of us than Egyptians. There's literally more, you know what I mean? There's more people in Nigeria than Egypt. So there's all this shit about coming from Egypt just because they have big buildings, right? That's all it is. That's all it is. They just got big buildings. But they got big buildings in Dubai. I think in 2,000 years, everybody's gonna start talking about, oh, we migrated from Dubai. That's why my ancestors ended up in Wyoming. You know what I mean? It's just big buildings. That's all it is. No, we do not come from Egypt. We're older than the Egyptians, and different. Do Igbos have an astrology system? Yes, they do, but I'm not very knowledgeable of it. Igbo have an astrology system, but I'm not super knowledgeable of it. Like a zodiac, maybe on the zodiac, maybe, but I don't think like a zodiac. People are gonna try to like make them and stuff like that, but I've never seen it. And if it is, it's not something that's emphasized a lot. It's not something that's emphasized a lot. But I don't really have too much knowledge of it. What I do know is that, and this is what I've known since I was a child, that every person born has a grain of sand and a star in the sky that is theirs. That is earlier we were talking about the ete. So that ete leads to the earth by way of that grain and leads to the sky by the way of that star. And that is your connection, your umbilical cord to Chi and Eke. And so that's what I know, right? So oftentimes you'll hear people talking about referring to their akaraka, their destiny as their star. So, even when like, it's a whole different thing. But yeah, thank you very much for that. Can peace and chaos, damn, Brandon, why are you doing this to me? All right. Can peace and chaos be seen as a cycle, like weather? Hold on, wait. I really like this setup. I think this might be my setup. I'm gonna try to replicate this when I get back. I like this a lot. This is good. It's not too I don't like I mean, I like the theatrics because it's fun, but like this is more me. Can peace and chaos been seen in a cycle like the weather that can be ever devastating weather can be to humanity? The weather is still very part essential to the life as a whole. Yeah, yes. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Yes. So again, in order for me to decide something is peace and something is chaos, I would have to determine which one of those things don't belong, or what in existence doesn't belong in existence. If I accept that everything in existence belongs in existence, because I mean, what's the alternative, right? Um, then it would be hard for me to see things, even though in my perspective it may be painful or quote unquote bad. as non-belonging. So if peace is a state of normalcy or an absence of conflict, right? And conflict is not really, once you start seeing that conflict is not really conflict is supposed to exist, then it becomes hard to kind of think in that paradigm. But yeah, I can see what you're saying, where it's like the weather, where okay, the hurricane blew things over, but that's just what it has to be, and so forth. And one isn't necessarily defined as chaos, and one isn't defined as peace, because the storm is peace, right? The storm is peace. It's normal. That's what it's supposed. A storm is supposed to storm, right? A storm is supposed to storm. Not true. West Africa was known as the kingdom of what? Oh, here we go. Nigeria was a part of that kingdom. No, it wasn't. The founder of this kingdom was named Dingo. No, he wasn't. Who migrated from the Nile Valley? Research. Okay, so why? Okay, explain this to me, Sage. Why are there 250 million Nigerians? Okay, 250 million. Why are there 250 million? I'm getting tired of this shit. Why are there 250 million fucking Nigerians and like maybe 80 million Egyptians? Why did that happen? What if I have a family of four? What if my daughter goes to, I don't know, Saudi Arabia and begins a whole thing? How will she produce 3 to 4 times more people than us four here in this house that we began? Can you explain that? Let's just do numbers. Like people just went to Egypt, saw some big ass buildings. Now everybody's got to be from Egypt. So let's explain that, right? I know in America this shit's cool, but I'm not. Nobody's talking about no Egypt in Nigeria. It's just not happening. It's not what we're doing. So can you explain how 250 million Nigerians, right, came from Egypt, right? Spry, good looking, athletic ass people. I never seen an Egyptian dunk a ball. Where did that gene come from? You know, when is this gonna end? You know what I mean? Talk about, oh, are you from Israel? Like there's like 13 million people in Israel. That's Anambra State. That's one state in Nigeria. Can you explain to me how so many Nigerians, maybe you don't know that, maybe you don't know that, how so many Nigerians came to exist if they came from, you said West Africa. This is the thing people don't understand, because like in American schools, you get taught about Egypt first. Egypt is the periphery of Africa. That's like saying everybody in America originates from Idaho. I know they got the big buildings in Idaho, but it's Idaho. It's not a thing. You understand? So then somebody goes, okay, explain why there's so much more happening in the East Coast, Texas, California. How can all this come from Idaho? What's the logic? Yeah, and there's nothing. So can we do the number thing? Let's do the numbers. Let's talk the numbers, okay? Adema. Does Odinani have a celebration at the end of September? Yeah. So this particular September often correlates with the new moon, or with the moon that I'm getting winded. It correlates with the moon that New Yam is celebrated. So in a lot of communities, celebrated their New Yam festival in this moon. This is a very, very significant moon for a lot of people. And so yeah, almost everybody did their new Yam festival this moon. New Yam is like the main holiday in Igbo culture. So yeah, this moon is no joke. It's a very, very important one. Ademma, thank you. Because Egyptians are not the Egyptians they are now. Arabs moved into Egypt and blah, blah, blah. I'm Yoruba. Bro, I don't care if you're Yoruba. Can you explain to me why there's more Yoruba people than there are Egyptians? I don't, you know, like, you need to talk to your people. Leave this Egypt thing alone. You know, right? Like, what is that doing for you? What is that doing for you? I don't know what's going on in Yoruba, but I know that in Igbo land, we have plates that are older than human life in Egypt. This is an archaeological fact. We have plates that are older than human life in Egypt. There's not one or two or three, it's thousands of them. We have gardening tools that are carbon dated older than human life in what you call Egypt. And there's more of us than them. So can you explain? You're talking about Arabs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's not, that's not you. That's not you. You know what I mean? I don't, talking about, Upper Egypt, Kush, Maro, way cooler than Cairo, Egypt. Anyway, like, let's say this shit was even cool, right? I think my shit's cool. I think what I'm talking about is very cool. Maybe some people don't agree. Maybe people don't know, but I know what I'm saying. This shit's cool. You know what I mean? I don't need to go over there to go see some at all, at all. How many videos on YouTube are, oh, I'm in Egypt, this place sucks. Okay. Okay, what is it? What is it? You know? Why is everybody gotta be from fucking Egypt? Leave it alone. You know what I mean? Leave it alone. You know, I can't walk through where I'm from and just be like, oh man, I just fuck Egypt. Oh. Why Egypt? Why Egypt? Why not Mongolia? You know what I mean? Leave it alone. Yeah, Denali, that's cool as hell, bro. I don't. What the fuck? What Egypt? Okay, like I mean, cool. I respect it. You know, of course I respect it. You know, but what are you doing? You're already talking about I'm Europe, dude. Go talk to your dad. You know, go ask your dad where you're from. So get off the internet. Leave this internet shit alone. Talk about Egypt. Igbo, simple. Igbo, you can't. I don't think. I don't think. Okay, so in my culture, telling somebody they're not from where they're from is an insult. And a lot of young people don't know that, and I have to tell them that it's an insult, right? That means that you're not Diala. You're not Diala. You're not Waffle. You're from Pakistan. Like, oh, yeah, we're on the internet. We're mixing with all this shit that's flying around. We're taking it in. I'm not a part of that world. You know, I'm not a part of that world. Maybe one day you guys will tap out. Some of you guys will tap out. Maybe some you guys will just stay there forever. I'm not a part of that world. Don't come and tell me I'm from Egypt. It's an insult, right? Especially when the actual facts tell you that that's just not what it is. In America, they don't teach, listen, everybody's on America's brain stem, okay? In America, they don't teach people about Nigeria. They just don't. Americans are kind of figuring out, like, oh, okay, there's a lot going on over there. What the fuck is that, right? 1 out of every 5 black people on planet Earth is from Nigeria. How can people from Nigeria be from fucking Egypt? What's the science on that? How would that happen? 1 out of every 5, 1 out of every 4 in the continent of Africa. I would think there's some type of centrality to that place, right? Maybe those people are from there, just from the numbers. I don't know. But like again, you know, and I'm not blaming Americans. This guy's Yoruba. Americans don't know that stuff. They're not taught those things. It's not important in their like the curriculum and all that stuff, right? They have this Egypt thing we do in 3rd and 4th grade, and then they just shut off the Africa chapter, right? They shut off the Africa. So I don't blame people in America because eventually, if they're curious enough, they now see they can put things in context, right? But you can't come to an adult man and tell me I'm from Egypt. Like, okay, what? I don't know, man. Hey, man, I can say a lot, man, but I'm gonna leave it alone. American history is a fantasy novel, and I'm from America. Yeah, I was educated here too. It's a very funny thing, but you know, at home, it's not. They don't do a better job. So look at the Igbo. We're in Asia too. Igbo men try, dude. You got if you don't stop this nonsense. Oh man, my Chi Kenga Igbo spirituality system is deep and awesome. I just like connecting the dots. No, that's not the dots. Leave the Egypt thing alone. Ghana with the Akan system. I like that. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Can you talk about? All right, let me go back to the original questions people were asking because there were some good ones I missed. Okay, astrology. We got past that. The chaos. Not true. Because though. Because the left, I don't get that. What we talking about? Hey, perp. Just I just hang out. You'll eventually catch up. We're just answering questions, and people asking me about some damn Egypt. I'm tired of this Egypt narrative. Yeah, it's just like people feel that when it comes to African history, it's like the place to come and be like goofy, right? It's the place to come and be goofy and just say whatever and just do put on hats and shit and do whatever. And it's unfortunate, but I stand against that. I'm not for that, and you're not gonna come into my space with that. Enough is enough. Can you talk about the D? Oh, hold on, wait. Can you talk about DBS making laws? When they make covenants with the land, are they, hold on, sorry guys. Can you talk about DBS making laws when they make covenants with the land? Okay, I think we're referring to Ofo. Or, oh, we're referring to Iwala, Adama. Are the laws revealed in a state of trance? Okay, thank you for that. So, Iwala, sorry, it's rare, if not ever, that a Dibia is the one that does the Iwala stuff, right? It's rare if like it's not common. The people that first reveal the Iwala are people we typically refer to as Osu now, Ndi. So they're the ones that communicate with the earth and so forth. What is done is when a people settle on a land or when a people move into a new land, you use various methods. One of the methods I'm aware of is Ntusiala, right? Ntusiala, where you use the vibrations of a rod to understand the earth and know and speak to her and communicate with her and so forth and know what this part of land is for, this part of land is for, and so forth, but also use it to reveal what her laws are so that if you're going to live on this land, what are the laws that the land that are existential to the land that the land reveals to us, because those are her laws of her accord. Once this is found out, the people make an oath. This is what you're referring to, an oath to follow those laws, and they become the Iwala, the laws of the land. These are sacred laws. These are not laws that are made by people, and they're not laws that can be changed or removed by people. The communities have laws outside of Iwala, right? Communities can even make laws and make the law Iwala. And so once the people make the law Iwala, then it's binding. But the original concrete Iwala, that's sacred. It's usually pretty universal from community to community and worldwide. But the people that reveal that Iwala to people are Ndiosu. It's not they're not DPS. They're not DPS. So there are different spiritual specialists in Odinani. There are different spiritual specialists in Odinani, right? The thing I'm doing right now where I'm sharing and I'm talking about the ancestors and something, it's closer to what an Nze or an Ozo would be doing, right? Traditionally, Nze, Ozo, and so forth. A DB is like a scientist, a doctor, and so forth. And then Ndiosu are like they are human representatives of an Abara, or human representatives or human manifestations of a spirit, like an Abara, right? So the earth, water, and so forth, right? And so there's different classes of the thing. But Ndiosu are the ones that figure out Iwa. My throat's getting dry. Igbos must do tourism. I don't like tourists. I don't like tourists. I don't like the mentality around it. Hold on, guys. I don't like the mentality around tourism. I don't like that. I'm not with it. Even though I'm a tourist too. The place I'm at now is not where I live. I'm a tourist right now, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anybody's happy to see tourists. What is the name? Come as a returning child, not as a tourist. Let me say it that way. Come as a returning child, not as a tourist. You'll get a lot more from that. What is the name of the Igbo cosmic spider? The cosmic spider is Udide, Udide, space, Oka, Okanka, Okanka, or Ududo, which Udo, Udod. No, man, it's different. I can't think. Ududo, Ududo, and then Okanka, the same Okanka as the previous. Different dialects say spider differently. We say Udide, right? And then I can't spell today. Yeah. There are Africans everywhere, kinda. No disrespect to our history. I'm just trying to show connection to all of Africa. Why, I mean, okay, fine, connection to all of Africa. But what there's never been anybody that wants to make a connection to all of Africa that makes something that white people don't like central to the narrative. So once we want to connect Africa, everybody's a damn Moor, everybody's a damn Hebrew, everybody's a damn Egyptian. Because if you look just like geographically, they encountered white people quicker, and because white people got your fucking brain string, that's just what it's going to be. You know what I mean? Even though compared to the rest of Africa, there's virtually nobody in that. Those places are empty. There's nobody there. You understand? Archaeologically, they just showed up. They just arrived. This is new. Are these people older than the people in Congo? Absolutely not. Are they older than the people in South Africa? Absolutely not. Are they older than people in East Africa? Absolutely, literally, absolutely not the place humanity started. Are they older than people in West Africa? No. But because they met white people first, they got your string, now everybody's got to be from there. Just cut the middleman and say we all came from Denmark. That's what you really want to say. That's what you really want to say. You want to talk about a place white people like. White people love Denmark. Leave the Egyptians alone. That's like a little detour. You know what I'm saying? Just say we're all from Denmark. That's what you want to say. Then it sounds silly, and that's how that shit sounds to the Egyptian. Shit sounds to me. I'm not Egyptian. I ain't nothing to do with no goddamn Egypt. I don't know why once you start talking about African history, somebody wants to come tell you about fucking Egypt and some Moors. Okay, dude, just you know. I don't know. I'm doing too much. Let me chill out. Uh, Even just looking genetic flow, most of the cradles of human civilization were around the Congo and Cameroon. What is Cameroon like a 1 hour drive from where I'm from? You know what I mean? So somebody went to Egypt and dropped all the way back down and came to where I'm from. Come on now. He is around the Nile. Okay, simple, reticulated. Thank you very much for that. Can't wait to rewatch this live. I have sent so many vids. Oh, thank you, a living being. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. The Anang in Nigeria are related to Ghanaians in ancient Egypt, bro. David Hassan, I'm gonna headbutt you if you don't stop this. My bad, brother. Cool. All right, now we talk about some normal shit. All right, so my bad, brother, but can you teach the rings of Moi? Yeah, rings of Moi. Yeah, so everybody comes in two forms. Madon, Moi. Madon is your dense physical form. Moi is your ethereal, let's call it your light form, right? And they are both your left and right foot that you use to walk in existence. Moi itself, just like Madon, has different parts and functions and so forth. And what we understand as far as Odinani goes is that Moi has 8 layers, right? Moi has, oh, I'm sorry, 7 layers. You can say 8, but I'll explain why you can say 8, right? And so, but in most African thought, or a lot of African thought, things are formed in, and I'm glad I found this word that you guys have been trying to teach me for a long time, but I didn't put two and two together. Most things form in fractals. So what a fractal is a pattern that repeats itself again and again, often on different scales, right? So if you think of like like a snail, the curling of the snail thing. It's the same pattern repeating over and over. A snail shell and so forth. A spider web, same pattern repeating over and over. Generally, the universe, that kind of thing. You see how the universe looks like a cell. You see just all these different things, right? So with the layers of Mo, what happens is you have your original 4 layers, and then the next 4 layers are repetitions of the same 4, but just with different kind of on a different level, right? They're more spiritual or of spirit, right? Um, and I mean of spirit is that okay, they're all spirit, of course, but the ones after 4 and above are more like they're self-sentient. They're self-sentient, right? And then your 7th layer, which may or may not be my next video, right? Your seventh layer is the apauche. Let's call it apauche, the nest or the bag of uche. And in that particular spot, you receive your connection to Chineke, to Chukwu, I'm sorry, not Chineke, specifically to Chukwu is there, and you can receive direct downloads that sit on that particular spot. In other cultures, this gets referred to as prophecy, as the opening of the third eye, and so forth. And then, I mean, I'm not going to go through each layer, but for example, the third layer, I'll just go through a few though, but the third layer, it is your procreative forces there. So you have this on your third layer, all of your progeny, their layers are all in there as well, like everything that will come from you. And if somebody is adept enough, they would be able to know that you as a line will continue for 21 generations, for five, for two generations, or this is the end of the road, right? And it's also where your ikenga and your omomo sit, your earthly abilities to do, right? I'm trying to think of, I'm just gonna pick a quick layer. Your sixth layer is a shadow, right? It is you that looks back at you, but it is sentient and it's aware and it's conscious, right? So it's like you're double conscious, your shadow, and so forth, right? So when a lot of people do shadow work, this is the part of themselves that they are sitting down with or existing within or addressing, as well as their second layer, which is also a shadow, but it's not sentient. It's almost like an echo of whatever you put out. You put out something into the universe. The first, like your energy as your spirit. Your spirit puts out something in the universe, right? And that thing gets shot back to you. So your first layer is the thing you put out, right? Or your light, right? So sometimes somebody will walk into a room and then you'll just kind of feel their vibe somehow, right? You'll be like, or somebody will be looking at you and be like, you can just feel there's something that coming out. Or like, let's say somebody's really negative, then all of a sudden we're all in the room, we all start turning negative. You'll get that one person that you know that's negative as hell, and then and then you realize you've just been talking shit for like for like 10 minutes subconsciously just because this person is in the room, like, oh damn, I'm getting really negative because that's the light they give out. But that same light they give out goes back into them. This is why a lot of DBS don't engage in like medicine that kills, things that like hurt or harm another person. They exist. They're real, right? But a wise Debia does not engage in them, because if you're asking a Debia to do, you're actually asking a Debia to shoot that thing out into the atmosphere, but also send it back into yourself, right? To take a double-edged sword, put it on your chest, and run into somebody else. That's really what you're asking them to do. So a lot of them won't engage in, a lot of the more ethical ones won't engage in that nonsense. That being said, my witch gang, my Instagram and TikTok witch gang, who has held me down for ages and I have love for, don't be one of them ones that just start, I'm gonna do this to you, I'm gonna do that. Why? That's one of the things that gets missed in the whole equation. That thing's gonna happen to you too. It doesn't work in the sense like it's like, oh, I'm gonna set this house on fire. You're in this house too, right? There's an ilu that says, a person, I'm not going to say it perfectly, but a person who holds another to the ground is also stuck there, right? So if I grab you and I hold you to the ground, in order for you to be stuck on the ground, I have to be stuck with you. If I get up and move, now you're free, right? So be aware that that's how these things work. So when you do shadow work, your sixth layer, to my knowledge, your sixth layer and your second layer are what's being addressed. Now, I had somebody who was a part of our community, the village, on Patreon, tell me that she has realized that there are more than eight, that I can identify, like I think it was 16 was the number, which is as many nodes as Afa has. Afa, the divination language. And that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense, right? So I've heard a little bit of her case for it. It makes sense and so forth. So my knowledge goes to eight, but I'm being told that it can go beyond eight, and I would love to look into that because it's interesting and so far makes perfect sense. Ademma. What do you think about Idris Elba playing Okonkwo? adaptation by, yeah, it's cool. I don't see the problem. I don't think anybody really has a problem with that. There's all these like, it may be like, I logged on the internet. Before I log off, I have to yap. So somebody's gonna yap and that kind of thing. But there's no real problem with that. I think it'd be cool as hell. Nollywood is like started out like entirely Igbo, but they would make the movies in English so that everybody can hear it, right? So that everybody can understand. And then they would incorporate actors from all over Nigeria. So we've had um oh my God, don't let me forget this man. Ah, no, 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 no. Guys, can you remind me of the Yoruba man who he plays like the Igwe? He always plays the Igwe. He always plays like a oh no, 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 no. Very deep and profound voice. I'm trying to remember his name. Yeah, you take this majestic ass man and tell him he's a fucking Egyptian, like when is this gonna end? You know, when is this gonna end? I don't know, man. Ah, like, okay, but yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, and God, what's his name? Now I'm stuck. This whole life is gonna be me trying to remember this man's name, and it's like I know this name, Olu Jacobs. Olu Jacobs. There's this Yoruba actor, Olu Jacobs, but he plays. If Pete Edochie isn't playing the king, Olu Jacobs is playing the king. You understand? Gentle Jack is always playing the action hero warrior. He's Ijo. So we've been doing this for ages, and it's nothing new. So all this internet, yeah, it's just some people on the internet. Oh, that's nothing. People are happy to hear that Things Fall Apart is being adapted again. I look forward to seeing it. I'm not big into like Hollywood adaptations because it's a strange place, and you know a lot of like strange little mentality seeps into what they do. I also don't think like people in my age group can make movies. So I don't have much reason to look forward to it, but I'm happy that such a good story is being put in a modern, probably more digestible lens for new people to encounter it, right? I probably won't check it out, but you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I don't think people are like, I don't think people, I'll have to check uh, David's age, but anybody in my, I don't think we should make movies. I don't think we should make movies. We have a lot of talents. We're wonderful people. I don't think people in my age range should make. Enough is enough. We're destroying the world. Let's stop this nonsense. All we'll do is just hijacking kids shows and make it. What if Daffy Duck was actually on drugs? Like just all right, dude. Yeah, okay, you know what I mean? Oh, it subverts the tropes. That's all we can do. Remember them shirts they used to have where it's like Bugs Bunny, but he's like has attitude. That's our brain. That's all we can do. Anybody who grew up in the 90s, that's all our creativity is. It's just like, what if we had a hip hop Bugs Bunny? What if Scar was actually the good guy? What if what's I mean, it just goes on and on. You know, that's all we can do. So Things Fall Apart is gonna be what if Okonkwo was actually it's gonna be some other shit, you know. So I don't know. I don't I don't know. This is nobody wants to hear this shit. It's cool. Back to the topic. This is gonna be the worst live ever, by the way. I'm tired and I yeah, it just is whatever. Uh Produced by Yoruba Saxon. That's fine. That's fine. That's cool. I think that's awesome. You know, think that's awesome. Congratulations on your progress. Thank you, thank you. I've sent a vid to my nephew about these concepts. I think you're a very important part of community. Oh, thank you so much, living being. Thank you so much. I can't say that enough. Ndewo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, thank you for that comment. I'm back. I'm focused again. You know, I'm focused again. You guys notice the less sleep I have, the more this shit kind of just starts flying to different places. So I don't know. The Egypt obsession started with the Roman obsession to a British obsession, American obsession to the modern world obsession. Yeah, probably. But I would like that to stay away. I do legitimate, serious work here. I don't really have time for all this Egypt shit, you know. Somebody wants to talk about it's like why don't you guys just be Egyptologists? Like, you know what I mean? Like put this to use. Don't start telling everybody they're fucking Egyptians all the goddamn time, you know? You wouldn't say that to some white people, would you? Yeah, because you respect that shit, right? I bet you wouldn't say that to a Chinese guy. Yeah, it's just me that you're gonna say this shit to. Okay. Headbutt the hell out of you. All right, so what stories do the ancestors tell about the invaders? Are you talking about like colonialism? There's a lot, but you're gonna more like kind of contemporary literature and things like that. So there's a lot of different stories that feature colonialism in that era and so forth. Things fall apart. The one we are just talking about is in the colonial era. So when the movie comes out, if you haven't read the book, maybe you can check that out. That particular people always say that things fall apart is pre-colonial, and that's not true. That was the colonial. That was what colonialism looked like. That was the colonial era. By the time the British even stepped foot there, they had already claimed to own the place for like 20 years. You know what I mean? So that was the colonial era, if that makes sense. A lot of the stories, though things fall apart, is a made up story. There's a lot of pieces of it from real life events, like when they tie the bike to the tree and that actually happened, and things like that. So, and I think in Obusi or somewhere like that. So, things fall apart is a good one from the colonial era. Efuru is amazing. Is from the colonial era. And those are, if you want to understand what the colonial era looked like, those are two to look at, to read, right? Check those two out. Um, yeah, check those two out. Anytime I hear the word Moor or Israelite, I stop listening. And I feel bad for the Moors and the actual Israelites. Like, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them. I don't know. Ah, shit. But don't bring that shit over here. Like, it's just, I'm not walking around at home. People are talking about Moors and Israel. Like, nobody's, I mean, they started now because of the internet, but it's coming from America. It's like American internet. They got a hold of American internet and the shit just cooked people's brain. You know what I mean? As it's designed to do. And this isn't any disrespect to America. America's just very persuasive. That's just what it is, and nobody knows that until it's too late. So. I listened more. They sound well scripted actor that thinks they say it wasn't scripted on them. You look more lost than a bastard. Thunder fire you, I know. Yeah. Hey. He goes, you look more lost than a bastard on Father's Day. Um, hey guys, was I muted? I think I was muted. Turn sound on, level live on. Oh, that might be hot. Yeah. Hey, I think I was muted, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. I'll do my. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Millennials just making crossovers. Yeah, yeah, that's all we do. After the bastard joke, yeah, I think I hit the screen. I'll do my. I think you guys can hear me now. I'm behind on the live, so I'm just gonna keep talking. So I'll do my. But yeah, yeah, yeah. No, millennials should be banned from making. We're ridiculous. We don't know what we're doing. not a headbutt. The moon is a reflection of what we live. That's why we only see one side. He said, "You just muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. No sound. No sound. No sound. LOL. Oh no, he's gonna see this. He's gonna see this. So he scrolls down. You're muted. You're muted. Unmute. LOL. Unmute. Right now, he don't even see us saying this. Yeah, it's a broken system. Can you unmute? Well, he's just talking. I can't hear you. You have to turn on your sound. Bika, yes, 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 yeah, yeah. You were muted. You're back. Can you talk about Enri and Arie? Okay, cool. All right, we're back to business. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll talk about Enri and Arie. Shout out to you guys for I'm on mute. You guys didn't even run away, so thank you for that. That was awesome. Thanks for being patient. Um, Enri and Arie. I'll tell you a story of Enri and Arie. Enri is This story of Enri and Arie is the origin story of the Umu Enri people, the Umu Enri people, right? I think it's a collection of around 12-ish communities in what is now Anambra. Um, so the story goes that in the beginning of the earth, when the earth was first beginning, when the world was muddy, where earth and water, Nemiri and Allah, were still battling for supremacy and therefore making the world and the land inhospitable, right? Um, a rope, Ete, was released from the sky, and Chukwu had sent the man who sits at his right hand, known as Eri, down the Eriri, the rope, to come down into the earth and settle. And so Nri came with his wife. I forgot her name, so apologies to the story, but I forgot her name. But he came down well, he came down by himself at first. And then he said, "I cannot be here alone. Can you bring my wife?" And so Chukwu brought his wife down from the same rope. And Nri landed on the ground. The earth was muddy. Everything was water and so forth. It was you couldn't settle on it. And so Chukwu sent a man from Oka, a community known as Oka. And the people of Oka are master ironsmiths. And he sent the Oka man to where Nri stood so that he can use his bellows and blow on the earth and the land and create a separation so that there is peace between the two elements and therefore a livable condition. And so he used his bellows from his furnace, his iron furnace, and he cleared the water and created solid earth. And so on this solid earth, Nri lived. Now, Nri, being he who sits at the right hand of Chukwu, was able to call upon the sky and feed directly from Chukwu by performing umendo, which is just breathing, eating by way of breathing. In some version of the story, he eats a certain sky fish, azuigwe, fish that comes from the sky, but same thing. And so Nri is doing this and so forth, and Nri and his wife are fruitful and have children. And one of or Eri, sorry, and one of Eri's children is Nri. Well, one day the patriarch of the family, Eri, passes away. He does something that they had never seen before, which was going to sleep and not waking up again. And so the issue was this: Eri was the source of food for his family and for his people. So he would call upon Chukwu, and Chukwu would send fish from the sky, Azuigwe. So Nri, his name, by the way, the word Nri means food, by the way. Eriri, rope. And so Nri began to do as his father did, as his heir. He began to do as his father did, which was call upon Chukwu to bring fish from the sky, and Chukwu did not bring the fish. Nri called again. Chukwu did not bring the fish. And after a while, after Nri's failures, a famine hit the land, and his people began to starve. Even in the midst of famine, Nri had the two things that made him most happy in the world, which were his daughter and his son. And so he continued to call upon Chukwu because he saw the condition that they and the family were in, but Chukwu did not answer. So one day, out of his frustration, Nri began to ask Chuku directly, "Why don't you feed me the way you fed my father?" And Chuku said to Nri that in order for you to feed, you must eat from the earth, not from me. And Nri didn't understand what this meant. So Nri asked for more clarification. And Chuku said, in order for you to feed, you must sever the head of your son and sever the head of your daughter, and bury both of these heads into the soil. And from these heads, food will grow. Well, Nri refused, right? Nri said, I can't do that. This is my son and my daughter, right? This is the son, my Obara and my Ada, my first son and my first daughter, right? And so absolutely not. And so the starvation continued and continued, and his people dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until one day Nri said, all right, I'm going to do it. But Chuku, I want my children to come back from the dead. I don't want them to stay dead. So Chuku said, all right, you will mark their head with the Ichi marks, right? You will mark their head in the Ichi pattern after severing, and or you'll mark their heads with the Ichi, you will sever, and then you will bury them. And so Nri did exactly that. And from the head of his son grew the yam, the G. From the head of his daughter grew the cocoyam, the ede. Till this day in Igbo land, only men grow ji, yam, and only women grow ede, cocoyam. And so these two crops grew, and every time and anytime they would appear, Nri's children were present. So his children, from this idea of cultivation, grow to live forever, and they continue to feed us, and then we feed them, and we continue and live symbiotically with them. Because Nri followed Chukwu's design, Nri was given the Ofo G, which is the Ofo of the yam G, right? And so after receiving all 4G, till this day, the Umweri people, or the Umonri people, have certain rights in Igbo land that pertain to yams and farming and so forth. They also have certain rights when it comes to cleansing abominations, and they have particular rights when it comes to cleansing abominations, yams. Also, like medicines that are formed by way of the yam, like all the different the leaf, the actual yam itself, its water, the stem, and so forth. They have a vast knowledge of how to do that with the yam. And so throughout ancient Igbo land, the Umweri people would travel all over Igbo land, cleansing land to ensure proper farming and so on and so forth. So that is the story of Enri and Arie. That is the story of Enri and Arie. Odemma. Thank you for that question. You released the thunder and it fires the whole thing you say. Okay, I know what you're saying. Cool, cool, cool. Odemma. I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Okay, cool. I read Things Fall Apart. Just wonderful. They had stories of when they first appeared. Was it linked to some sort of prophecy? There are different villages have different stories of like how the Europeans came and so forth. By the time colonialism started, the Europeans had already been interacting with Africa for hundreds of years. So it wasn't like a sudden arrival, right? It wasn't like a sudden arrival by the time colonialism starts. The Europeans start making like intense like active contact in like the 1400s, and then colonialism starts in like the 1800s, right? So there's already hundreds of years, and that 100-year period is slavery, right? That's slavery. And so there was that happening, and then after the era, once the slave trade starts getting abolished, they start taking over the land itself, right? Directly, right? And so in that time, there are people that say that there are prophecies. There's all these different stories. The my own community, we have a story of when the colonial era officially began and so forth. So different people say different things. There are different people that say yes, there have been prophecies, but it wasn't like one singular event. It was a series, a kind of a really gradual encroaching, gradually encroaching on the land, right? So I don't know. See, brother, we're good. Okay, Sage, I love that. All right, cool. So, are you ever going to make a video on insipidity text? It dates back to 500 BC. So, I have made a video called Insipidity Explained. Check out and just type in Insipidity Explained, the medicine shell, or go to like my channel and search the insipidity one. Type in, yeah. So, I have made a video on insipidity. I can make a second one because one of the things you guys should know as well is that even though I've made a video on a topic, I can always there's always more I can add. I don't I there's no way I can say everything on each topic in one video. So there's always more. If you want more on a video, you can say, okay, can you do another video on this topic? And I'll elaborate even more. So I'll do more. If Madon is the densest form of more, then can it be linked to steam condensing to a form of water? Yes, it's the same principle. So it's the same principle. If you look at if you look at if you look, okay, so as it is in nature, as it is in spirits, otu ọ dị na mmadụ ka ọ dị na mmụọ, otu ọ dị na mmụọ ka ọ dị na mmadụ, right? So mmụọ, mmadụ have the same relationship as like the sun and its rays, and the rays of the sun, right? So the sun is a solid physical thing. The rays of the sun are its more, or because the sun predates humanity, we use this term abara, which if you talk about the Abara Anyanwu, right? The Abara Anyanwu. So let's say the deity Anyanwu. One of her names, she's often referred to as Anyanwu na Abara, yeah. So the sun and her spirit or his spirit, different places change genders for the sun. So the sun and its spirit, the sun and its spirit, Anyanwu na Abara, yeah, right? And so from the sun, we understand the person. We know that we are a solid form with rays that project out from us. And these rays, just like the sun having its spectrum of features, UV, all these different things that it omits, the different color spectrum it omits. Our spirit also omits that thing, but the sun's rays are the essence of the sun. So if you feel the sun's rays, you don't need to go to the sun to know that it's hot, right? For example, if you feel somebody's spirit, you don't need to go too far to know what's going on. And then also when you start learning how to feel the moi or the abara of the different elements of nature as they radiate from that element of nature, you begin to learn and connect to that thing directly. We have a traditional medicine class on Kedu. But if you're interested, by the way, we're going to start the next class at the end of October. So like if you're interested, sign up at www.kedu.me or message me. We'll work something out. But the one of the things you learn in traditional medicine class is to begin to feel the more that radiates from the different elements of nature so that you can connect with it more directly and communicate with it directly and work with it directly and learn from it directly, right? So yeah, that's that. These stories are beautiful. I have tears in my eyes. Oh damn, right? Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna chill out on the buffoonery too. I've been goofing off too much. I appreciate that. Fish that come from the sky reminds me of no. Yeah, it does remind me of that a lot. I've heard that too. Okay, I think the story of Ugochi losing his eyes for greater knowledge is a lesson for people that anything great comes with a sacrifice. Yeah, 100%. The universe is exchange. Something must be lost to gain. Something must be gained to loss, to lose. The bigger the gain, the bigger the sacrifice, and so forth. It's just the way of the world. It's the way of the universe. So I told the story of Ugochi in my last video, Ritual Explained, which a lot of you guys like that video. So if you haven't watched that video, check out the video Ritual Explained. Ritual Explained. I should have put the link in here. But in this, I told the story of a man who wanted to know as much as Agun know what Agun knew. And this person, if you don't know, Agun is the mind of the universe itself. It is the Abara that is all knowing, all seeing, all understanding. But in all stories of Agun, when Agun is given that knowledge that Agon eventually receives to make it Agon, it comes at a big sacrifice, right? It comes at a big price. I told the version of the story in my Agon Explained video where Agon, in order to have the wisdom, Agon has to balance all of the Abara on its head, right? That's one version of the sacrifice. Another one is once Agon gains all the knowledge, Chuku instructs all of the other Abara to tear Agon apart and eat a piece of Agon so that they all have Agon within them. And that is why Agon is within all things and everyone and so forth. And then there's another class of stories, right? Where it's like, it's a cycle. Another class of stories where humans now want to know what Agon knows. And Agon goes, okay, you want to know what I know? Give me your eyeballs, right? Pop, you know. Right. And so but this isn't to say that if somebody, like, for example, when a person is a debia, right, when a person is a debia, they are their community's manifestation of Agun, right? They're the community level manifestation of Agun. And so a person who is a debia, it's very universal that people who are debias live difficult lives, especially their lives are difficult before they kind of accept their calling. It's just a part of it. It's just people understand that, right? And that's just a part of what being a debia is. The more they try to run from it, the harder the life becomes. Once they embrace it, they then have that peace, right? They then have that peace. We were talking about peace earlier, Uda. Things are moving smoothly and so forth for them. But yeah, wisdom has a great price. Wisdom, but there's also a part of that story that stood out to me too, is that once he had that knowledge, right, his face got deformed, but when he would try to share the knowledge with other people, they would be afraid and they would run, right? That's not unlike the natural world. That's not unlike the world you're living in. Once he gained all that knowledge and tried to share it with other people, the other people would start to run. This is his family, his friends, right? And they'd say he was a madman, that he was crazy, and so forth, right? Once a person receives that knowledge from Akon, once you start trying to share it with Ofeke, they'll look at you and like, I was talking to my brother. I was talking to my brother, and we were talking about the idea of race, and he's unbelievably intelligent and unbelievably wise, but this is just not his interest. And he's like, I said that people from India and Arabic people are considered Caucasians or white people, according to the race laws, right? And he's like, how? Like, you understand what I'm saying? I was like, I go, the shape of their skull. And he thought I was just saying some crazy hotep shit. So he starts laughing his ass off. But I'm like, no, seriously, but in this, I sound crazy, right? Because I know something. You understand? I'm sharing it with somebody who that's just not their thing. So it's like, what the fuck? So can you imagine just that on a bigger scale as far as receiving from Akon, just trying to share these things with people and then just looking at it like it's crazy, right? And so a lot of DBs learn to share their wisdom by way of story, by way of allegory, by way of ilu, proverbs. All of those proverbs, that's what they are, right? By way of all these different things, by song and so forth. Because a lot of people, unless the person's a DBA too, if you just give them the raw info, they're gonna hesitate. They're gonna, what are you talking about? But yeah, he thought I was tripping because I said the shape. He thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, well, race is a ridiculous concept. So yeah, it's gonna have ridiculous little rules, but that's just what it is. But he don't want to hear it. Shit. Speaking of leopards of the magical dawn, it's so intimidating to read. Yeah. Yeah, it's intimidating to read, and there's just so much. Do you have any tips? So I go like, I don't read it linear. I use it almost like a resource bank, if that makes sense. So if I'm looking for something specific, I have it so like on my PDF thing, I can type in a word and it says all the places in the PDF it says it, and then I'll go read what it says about those things. But just reading it like as raw data, that shit, if like that'll turn your ass into mochi real quick. But but you do find people that are very comfortable reading it and so forth. I was good friends with the author at a point, and he talks like that too. He talks like that. Like I remember, I made a video, my video about the 7 layers of more, or is more explained. It was more one of them, and I was talking about this Debia that I talked to, and he's like, "Okay, get a paper and pen," because you're talking to just a cool guy. You're just talking, talking, talking. And all of a sudden, when he goes into that mode, it becomes so it gets dense, right? He's like, "You have paper and pencil." I'm like, man, come on, man. Like, we've been talking all day, bro. Like, what do you mean paper and pencil? And he's like, okay, check this out. He starts telling me, I'm like, yo, where's my paper and pencil? Because there's just so much. It was just coming out like, shh. But I was able to like record and like remember and things like that. And so I didn't mind. Yeah, he talks like that too. This is dense. Do you have a book? Do you have a book with the stories you are feeding us? Oh, I like the term feeding us. I appreciate that. Do I have a book? So there are a lot of different books with both folk tales. I'm not the best at moonshine. I'm not the best at remembering titles. There's one I just got from my son, and it's really good. Um, but I just don't remember the title. I don't remember the title. Um, my Ubuchi story, I can't remember if I got it from Leopards of the Magical Dawn after God is Debia, or it was a book, or like one of the books in my library, my research library. If you're on Patreon, go to the resource library, and I have a place called Folk Tales, and then there's a lot of different ones there. There's a lot of different ones in the folktale folder. Or you can just ask me there and I'll find them for you, right? On them. So, but yeah, the stories I tell, it's hard for me to remember exactly where I got each one, but there are books on Igbo folk tales. Some of them aren't that good, so I can't recommend anything right now. So maybe I'll write one. Maybe I'll write one. Been studying Odinana. Okay, been studying Odinala as it relates to Odinala and in Ifa. We have, sorry, an Udu that speaks of fish refusing to give a sacrifice and children winding up being eaten instead. Oh, damn. Damn. Okay. David Hassan. I understand what that thing is trying to say, though. I would read it in portions, analyze it, yeah, because the writer is a very broad vocabulary in that book, yeah, okay. Write notes and questions, yeah, I don't know. There are laws in Igbo land about having intercourse on a farm or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's an abomination to have intercourse on a farm or on in a barn. On a farm or in a barn, it is an abomination to do both. So if that happens, just like the story I told you about Enri and Arie, we would have to call the people who cleanse the land, and they would have to cleanse the farm where it happened, and then the community can decide what happens to the two people who committed the intercourse on the farm or on the barn. So a barn or a workspace is sacred, and the farm is the physical manifestation of Ahia Njoku. Ahia Njoku. Ahia Njoku is the Abara of, let's say, the Abara of agriculture, specifically the Abara of the yam. So when those two children of Nri were buried, right, their spirit exists as Njokuji and Ahia Njoku. Njokuji, the male, and Ahan Joko, which is the female, right? The two of them are, that spirit still exists, and it is an abomination to have intercourse on a farm or in a barn because of that. Generally in Odinani, your workspace, like let's say once a person understands that, or once your chi uses something to bless you, right? So let's say, like for example, what I do with the medicine shell. So this is a sacred act for me. This is sacred for me. This is a big part of, and this is how I enact my spirituality because my chi gave me this. My chi gave me the ability to do this. So in Odinana, your workspace is sacred, right? If it's a place you do sales, if it's a place you do art, if it's a place you do like a Debia's where a Debia does their work, if it's a farm, whatever your workspace is sacred because that is one of the things your chi gave you to actualize in the world. So it becomes sacred. right? We talk a lot about that idea of the sacred workspace and the sacred work and the fact of receiving the staff of authority, the all fall to do that work in terms of like Debia, like doing Debia work, but it's really for everything. It's the same thing for everything, right? Even no matter how mundane it seems, the weaving, like I just got some raba of aquete, and the loom that you weave is a shrine. You understand? It's a shrine. It's a shrine where you create, you make things happen from that did not that come from inexistence to existence, right? So yeah, it goes into the idea of the sacred workspace, and so you don't have intercourse on the farm or intercourse in your workspace. So, madam, yeah, that is one of the abominations. Oh yes, I had we talking about leopards of the magic dawn. Congrats. Hey, Mikel Owuna Mazi. Hey, Mikel, thank you so much. I've been, uh, what's the term for it? I've been, you're looking at something through the window. I've been looking at all your success and how your vision is really blooming and growing, man. So thank you for doing what you do, Mikel, and thank you for stopping by. Ademma. It's cool to have famous people up in the live. So, Insibity video is how I found this channel. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. I didn't know that. By the way, just curious, what was the first video that you guys watched? Just everybody, I want to hear what everybody has to say. What is the first video that you guys watched from my channel, right? Now that we're celebrating 15,000 subscribers, what was the first video that you guys watched? Adema. Always been curious. Do you have Debia ancestors in your lineage? Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Not on my father or mother's side. Um, but I definitely can investigate my mother's side more because my mother's side, they kind of begin their family history with this, with bringing the church to their community, right? And so if you begin from that point, it's pretty hard to figure out if somebody was a Debia before that or not. But I'll try to inquire more and learn more because there's a way that they're very, very spiritual, church wise. And just from doing the medicine shell, I've come to learn the more religious the family, the less degrees of separation from being a deviant that these people have. It has just been something that you can set a clock on that I've learned, right? You always meet like my family, we're never like super like we're just not religious people. And but my mother's I don't know my mother, but like I meet like other of course other Igbo people are like super, super, super. But you get these ones that are so fanatical that they don't want to tell their kids who their grandfather is. And it's like, I used to think that was the strangest thing in the world. But I've come to learn almost always when that happens, nah, there's a reason they don't want to talk about that particular guy because they were a devia or they were this or they were that and that kind of thing, you know. And so it's all this colonial stigma people have and stuff. So but yeah, yeah. I can look on my mother's side. I know on my father's side, I don't. No, no, we don't have any deviants in our lineage. Hold on, initially, the slave trade happened from 1400s to 1700s, but after the full-scale colonization of Africa proper didn't begin until the Berlin Conference, exactly 1880. Thank you so much, persons. You broke it down perfectly. Or is this crooked? I think this is crooked. Yeah, that's crooked. Are the words chi and moi used interchangeably? Yeah, yeah. Chi and moi get used interchangeably. I, but if you want to be technical, they're not the same thing, if that makes sense. But there's a reason you can use them interchangeably, right? Moi is a version of chi. Madon is a version of eke. Okay? Moi is a version of chi. Madon is a version of eke. Okay, so the interchangeability there is like it makes sense when people do it, but I'm of the mission to teach and preserve, and so I can't be like I have to be as clear as possible. So I definitely make the distinction, right? Because if you tell a person like no cheat sheet like the cheat sheet not more, you know what I mean? But they use them interchangeably. Um, and yeah, it gets used interchangeably sometimes, but they don't mean the same thing. If that makes sense. It's like Nigerians will call this whole thing your hand. Nigerians will call this whole thing your hand, right? If you grab, it's like, ah, leave my hand alone, right? That kind of thing. But people in America, this is the hand, this is the arm, right? But you know what I mean. Have you written a book? Technically, yeah. Somebody reminded me I made a children's book. I'm working on a non-fiction. No, no, no. I'm sorry, a fiction. Which what does that word mean? I'm working on a fiction book right now, and that book has a lot. That book is one of the things that started this entire way of life for me. Right? It started this way of life for me. Um, Believe it or not, I thought, well, my big idea was I'm going to write this book, but people aren't going to understand the concepts that I'm bringing up or the world that I'm describing. And so let me see if I can share some of them on YouTube so that by the time I put it out, they'll be ready. And then this just became its own thing. So that was a big part of it. Another part of it was a dream I had, and so the two of them just call. I'm not going to use a big word, came together to be what they are. I finished the book and then I've been editing it. I finished the book in like this single kind of burst of inspiration that didn't fare well for me professionally. But it does, I didn't care. But I had this burst of inspiration. I finished the book, and so now I'm going back and editing. It's been a way slower process. Um, it's been a way slower process, but yeah, I'm working on that book. I've also written a book for the traditional medicine class. I've actually written a textbook for it. So the All-1, the traditional medicine class, there's a textbook for it. It talks about like all of the different concepts of debiahood, um, and so forth. And it's kind of a weird album. I was inspired by like when Kanye West would just like release his album, then like start editing the album while it's out. So like I actually wrote the book like in real time. Like people watched me write it and read it and that kind of thing. But it's done now. The first class watch me write it in real time, and then now it's ready for everybody. I drew little pictures and everything like that. I'm gonna add to it. I'm gonna build it up a little bit more. I'm gonna add just a little bit more, and then I'm probably gonna release it as a singular book. So I have a nonfiction, a children's book, and a fiction book, but only the children's book's been released. But the other ones are coming pretty soon. So I'll do them. Most colonies before Berlin Conference were small coastal, yeah, like islands or like single towns, islands or single towns, yeah, that kind of thing. So the ritual video seems to tie everything together. Okay, dope, dope. I'm perfect. I love that. The medicine library. What are the folders that talk about the four world ages, Olga? The best resource for the four world ages is After God is Debia. After God is Debia talks about the four world ages. I think in volume one, I could be wrong. It talks about the four world ages there. Um, I don't know if Leopards of the Magical Dawn talks about the four world ages, but I've talked to the author about them, so it's hard for me to say. Um, I'm trying to think of what other resources are in there. I don't even have a Four World Ages library, but After God is Devious is a good resource for that. And then, all around the world, it seems to be the pattern of blindness as a parcel of knowledge. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, perfect. You got it. So yeah, it's you kind of have to pick an eye, your third eye or your second and first eyes, right? But yeah, it is absolutely a part of it. It pops up in pop culture too. It's the smart person always has bad vision. Isn't that weird? It's kind of weird. The smart person is, we know these things in more, our spirit knows these things and it manifests in what we do and how we express ourselves. But in creative works, right, outside of Odinani, I say just worldwide, creative works, the smart person always has bad vision, right? There's the blind teacher, there's the nerd with the big ass glasses. All right, and so I'll do my. It was a good video. Okay, talking about the ritual explained. Yeah, yeah, no, that ritual explained video is the only video of mine that I've watched. Like, I don't watch my videos back again. I don't, because you sit there editing, hearing your voice for like 2, 3 weeks. You don't want to hear it again. You're just like, all right, enjoy, guys. But I've went back and watched this one a few times. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and it's kind of taught me. a new way to make my videos. So if I don't something that may or may not notice. Every video I always try to do something like slightly different, slightly different, slightly different. So that if you go back to like my very, very first videos, it's like a whole different genre, like a whole different way of doing it. And then to now, I like the challenge of trying to like evolve the process, right? And so I learned some things. I did learn a lot because this particular video, I took a whole like I didn't do anything for I did nothing. I don't know how nice I did it. I didn't make any videos this summer, right? And so I took like 3 months. I didn't make any videos for my own reasons. And then so this was my first one in a while. And then in that time, I was just all these ideas were kind of just in my head, like, okay, what if I went this? What if I did this? And like that. And yeah, so I did my Are you still in touch with Waffle? Not really. It's not really, not really. I agree. Physical blindness for true sight. Our physical sight is our most distinct sense. Yeah. Apologies. I wanted to know if you have a book that you've written. I don't know if you've asked this twice or if I'm answering it, but I've written a children's book. It's called Baby Gabwegu. And I've written a textbook for our traditional medicine class, but I haven't released it to the public. And then I'm working on a nonfiction book that will be done um, by probably by like this spring. So I don't know. Well, I'll be done writing it. Then like I want to send it to a publisher and do it the formal way and so forth. So, which is not this as it's not normal for me. But I'm gonna go the normal process and be a part of like the human world with this one. So I don't know. I fully believe that he talks like that. The stuff about the Baki pyramids was bunk, though I looked it up. Yeah. Do the laws of the land go through Chuku like the laws of Eke? Laws of the land are from Allah. The laws of the land are from Allah, right? Everything that is Chuku's will is already happening. Everything that's Chuku's will is already happening. So Chuku doesn't need to give you laws or anything like that. It's just what it is, right? This microphone is a solid because Chuku's laws say it's going to be a solid, right? If it turns into a liquid, it's Chuku's laws that make it a liquid, right? But the laws of the land are from Allah herself, specifically from Allah. And they will chat, hey, creative force, and they will. My first video I watched was Chi Explained. After that, I went down the rabbit hole. Okay, cool. I did my first video I watched was Chi Explained. I think that's gonna be the pattern. That's dope. That's dope. The Aborigine women respect the land. They say you should not have intercourse on the land. That makes sense. That was 3 years ago. Damn. First video, Obimbo Primordial House. That's your video. Mikhail, that's your video. What do you? The first medicine show video you saw was your video, the video you made. That's what's up. Cool, cool, cool. All right, my first video was Chi Explained. I think I'm gonna see a pattern. Chi Explained. I would say that the reason why they avoid telling family members about the DB is because they are also crazy sacrifices. But no matter, yeah, but no matter how much you try to run from, you can't escape. Yeah, it's true. It's a lot. Chi Explained video went viral low key. Yeah. It's my I think it's my highest viewed video, but I think this ritual explained video is probably gonna pass it by like the end of the month. So yeah. Hey, John, I haven't seen you in a minute. I haven't seen that name in a minute. I just came in. I remember that you said last time that you had a weird experience doing alpha. Yeah, I did. And your mom, can you elaborate? And did you find out why that happened to you? Yeah. So I figured out. So I've been learning how to do alpha, and it's been going very well. And so I experimented with it a little bit, and I asked a few questions. So this is how I know what happened. So typically when I do Afa, I'll give something. So I'll give like I'll break a cola nut and I'll give part of it to the Afa and I'll give part of it to myself. And so the first time I did Afa, I asked a question. I'm trying to remember the question I asked, and what was it? Oh, so I have this anxiety. I have this anxiety about making financial transactions. And it's not that I don't want to spend money. Like I'll just give my wife the card and she just does whatever. I don't want to think about it. And I asked AFA and they said, AFA said, you're on the right path. It's going to be okay. It's ancestral, right? You're on the right path. It's going to be okay. It's ancestral. And I know that sounds like whatever to you guys, but to me, I was like, whoa. Because then it made me start thinking why my dad behaved the way he behaved. Why my like if my brother wants to get somebody a gift, you got to talk to his wife. He's not the one that's gonna buy it. Is I was like, I didn't, it's so weird. I didn't even see that. Oh, yeah, this is actually like it's genetic. You know what I mean? And so I figured that out. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I get it now. And I'm like, okay, let me ask some more questions. And then I asked another question that was a little more personal, and the answer was unusually personal, so I'm not going to share that one. But I asked the question, and then my daughter knocked everything off the table. So I asked the question again. Now I told you I give a cola nut each time. And now I went back to my work because the answer was really profound, and I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do next. This is great. Like it was a revelation for me. And I went back to my work and just not thinking, I ate the cola nut. And that like that next night or the next morning, my mom calls me and says, Derek, please, did you do anything like spiritual yesterday? I'm like, well, yeah, I did like Afa. And she's like, please, please, please don't do that anymore. I was like, wait, why? I was like, what happened? She said she had a dream that two women visited her and they were very friendly. They were very, as the young people say, demure, right? But they were very business. They meant business. They were coming for something serious. And they came to her house and she knew that they were spirits because like one of the things that Igbo say is that if you have a dream and the person struggles to turn around, they're a spirit. So a spirit in a dream is not going to do this. They're not going to turn their head like that. They're going to go like this all the way. That's why, I mean, I'm not gonna say that's why, but you'll notice in a lot of like even American scary movies, they use that whole like to scare you, right? To oh, this is not a normal person, that kind of thing. So she said that these two people had this hard time turning around, but they were talking to her very like they're very charismatic, they're laughy and that kind of thing. But like, hey, your son owes us something, and there was two of them that your son owes us something, and she's like, okay, leave him alone, I'll pay the thing. What's happening? And they didn't answer, and then they asked about somebody else, right? So she called me, and she called that other person, and both of us had did something similar. And so I was like, yo. And I knew why there was two of them because I asked Afat two times and then I took the thing that I gave them and ate it on accident, right? And so I just went back and I was like, oh yeah, here's two cola nuts, my bad, you know what I mean? And so everybody's been fine since. I've actually had a blessed, incredible moon. This moon has been like a lot of really great stuff is happening. That's why like it's even been hard to come live because I'm getting all these opportunities to go to these different places and visit family members and opportunities to like do things that I've been hoping to do for a long time. Just one after another, one after another. So like I'm okay, nothing bad's going on, but like the dream was like, yo, you gave us these two things and you took it. What the hell? You know what I mean? And they were very like casual about it. They were chill, you know. But yeah, yeah. I said, all right, that's kind of so I'm gonna hit the brakes on Alpha for a little bit. I may come back to it though because I took to it very naturally. It was very natural, and I also started like I started seeing things as far as like everything that I teach and I do. I started seeing things from the Alpha language. Like the Alpha language has been like one of my, like recently one of my sources for knowledge using Alpha, and we teach like in the traditional medicine class we teach Alpha. We teach the language in the book I wrote. Like I wrote like Every single thing, like every code, like when you get this, it means that. When you get this, it means that, so on and so on and so forth. And those codes will show you where things are connected and why that woman, river, rope, earth, water are all kind of the same thing, right? So that kind of thing. So not a fiction means not true. Yeah, just whatever. You get the vibes. I don't know. Oh, what's the name of your children's book? My children's book is Baby Gabwegu. Baby Gabwegu. I'm going to post it as a post right after this live. I'm going to post it as a post. I wrote it like a few years ago. If you guys want to go check it out, that's cool. I put my son as the author. You know, I was a new dad. I just wanted to blast my son everywhere. Hey, check it out. I have this son. You know, but I put him as the author, so he's the author. I'm the ghostwriter. You know what I mean? I'm like what's that kid's name? What's that? I can't even make the damn jokes. I have no memory right now. Uh, I'm I don't know. I was gonna make the guy that wrote for Drake, but the moment passed. I'll do him. He, yeah, Chineke, cool. The children's book is Baby Ga Ba Egu. Baby Ga Ba Egu. So if somebody wants to type that in the chat for others who can't or who would have a hard time spelling that, I would appreciate it. The first video of yours was explain the story of Chineke. Cool. Yeah, yeah, you nailed it. That was good spelling. Um, I'm Cameroonian. I just love your work. Thank you. It's educational, capsule. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Ademma. I would imagine your people's take on these things are not that different from our own. I know the from the Cross River area. I know their origin story, and so I would assume it's the same as ours, just different names and semi different symbols, but same sequence of events. So I would imagine a lot of the Cameroonian cultures would have something similar. What is Chi trying to tell you if you are paralyzed by infinite possibilities, like a writer or a painter who doesn't know what to create? Ah, wow. Oh, damn. That is a really good question. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to at least once or twice a year. I can relate to that as well. Though it's gotten better over the years as my head cooled down with age. Now, 20 some year old me, yeah, yes. um, I think here's the thing, right? I think you have to spend more time knowing yourself. And knowing yourself is not just knowing what you can do. Knowing yourself is also knowing what you can't do. When you realize what you can't do, it is just as much a blessing as what you can do, right? Because imagine life as, moving around in a dark room. So you're touching things. Every single time you touch a wall, it's not that the possibilities have ended, it's just reality. Oh, there's a wall here. There's a table here. There's a little ring light here, right? So that's what that is. Just spend more time knowing yourself and spend more time. You know what you're capable of. Start learning what you're not capable of, right? Start embracing what you suck at. You understand? How I do start to run. I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of not aesthetic. But yeah, start embracing and understanding what you're not good at, right? Like I myself, like with the like for example, I was give this earlier when it comes to like transactions, like for multiple generations, the people in my family just give the other person that you do all the thing, right? And it can be very detrimental, right? And it's childish. It's childish as hell. But we're not the transactions are frustrating to it frustrates me. They frustrate, especially like let's say I'm trying to do like online shopping and then like I click it and something doesn't work. Like I just get this swell of like frustration that's just irrational, you know? But that's not gonna be my thing. Remembering dates and times and stuff like that. Like people ask me, hey, when's the next whatchamacallit class? And I start like I gotta go to the Google Calendar and look at, oh, it's looking on that day and that kind of thing. Now, normally a person just be like 26th, 26th, 26th. I gotta look it up every time, but I don't mind it, but that's not for me. So somebody else, my wife tends to be like, hey, what day is that? It's this day. Thank you. So I'll do start learning what you can't do, right? That's how you deal with the problem of having too many possibilities, right? Because you really don't have that many possibilities. You you really you really don't. Oh shit, that mixtape might not go platinum, right? And the quicker you realize, the better. Also, get out of planning and start doing. So as you start doing, I used in the ritual explain, I used the ilu uche ne che oko ne che uche, which says the feet wait for wisdom, but wisdom waits for the feet, right? So you're waiting for the instructions before you move. When in reality, once you start moving, the instructions start manifesting themselves. I think in my next video, I'm going to kind of emphasize this idea a little bit more, but I touched on it a little bit in the last video. That's a big part of Odinala, right? So people want, okay, I want my chi to tell me this or to reveal this to me. Start doing, and then based on the scale of what you're doing, you'll be really surprised what your chi is capable of doing. And just let it be known, if you're North Star, if you're following the North Star, you will head north. You understand? If you are following the North Star, you will move north. So just do, and then your chi will then start, you'll then start seeing that, oh wow, I got magic powers. I didn't even know, right? So yeah, you really don't have that many possibilities. Um that mixtape is probably not gonna go platinum. You know what I'm saying? Right? I don't that fashion line is probably a little trash. And it's okay. It's okay. You need to do the thing, run into the wall, know, okay, there's a wall here, and then pivot. So that's kind of how I processed it as a person. I hope that helps. Chianeke video, Chia explained. YouTube does not recommend my videos to new people. It does not recommend my damn videos to new people. It's just something I kind of live with. But this new one, it did. The most recent one I did, it recommended it to new people. And it tells you, did I recommend it to new people or not? And it's always like, why didn't you recommend it to new people? But the most recent one, it did recommend it to new people. But it seems that maybe the Chi Explain video, it recommends it to people and then they become new, that kind of thing. So that's really cool. I'll do mine. Derek, can you make an introductory Igbo language video? Persons. Yeah, good idea. I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that. First time I heard that, my mind. Okay. First time I heard that, it blew my mind. Okay, sorry. First time I heard that, it blew my mind because I remembered a dream of my grandmother where she just turned her whole torso while sitting and looking at me. Whew. That's something. Yeah, yeah. So that's what they say. Like spirits can't turn their neck, or they don't like, hey, you. They don't go. They don't do that real quick. It's a whole process for them, right? Or they won't turn around. Like they'll just keep going. Like whoever. The Chinese say something like that too. The Chinese say that spirits just go like they just move like this. They don't like weave around and stuff. So it's interesting. Can you explain more about the turning thing? That's creepy. Something my mom recently taught me, right? So my mom told me that if my mom is very Christian, but she told me that if she would have found my channel when she was younger, she would be a Devia. She's a supporter, so but yeah. So the general idea, what she taught me is that spirits, they don't turn their neck, right? They don't turn their neck. They don't comfortably like do this or do that. They don't comfortably switch directions from the direction they were moving. So you'll know that the person in a dream is a spirit if they have a hard time turning and things like that. Um, and so in the dream she had, she was paying attention to that. She's like, okay, who are these people? And she noticed that they would not turn their head. They, that kind of thing. Just hold on. Let me do it. Hold on. So yeah, which is incredible that you see it in a lot of horror movies. You see it, the Chinese say the same thing. A lot of feng shui is based off the idea that spirits move like this. So like maybe correct me if I'm wrong, feng shui people, that spirits move in these straight lines, and so they design spaces to accommodate that concept. So I don't know. Okay, thanks. It was a cool story. Cool story, bro. Crazy cuz I had a dream with my grand mannerisms. She stood, and that was weird. Okay, everybody's grandmother seems to be doing that. I have a hard time spelling it. I'll do my. I've had ancestors literally smack me uh, um, to my knowledge, I have had, I think maybe four dreams that, to my knowledge, ancestors came to me. They never turned. I thought about that too. None of them ever turned. They were always like this, you know. They never turned. And yeah, they were scary as hell. They were scary as hell. Yeah. I've never been smacked by them though. My wife, she's gonna get mad. I'm telling the story. My wife did get pinned down by my maternal ancestors. I'm just gonna tell the story. She's gonna get mad about this. So our wedding was very stressful, and we ended up like having a disagreement that night, and so she had decided that in the morning she was going to go to Lagos, which, and then she had a dream where all these old women came into her room and started pinning her down, and then she got scared, and then that really made her that really made her ass go to Lagos. So after things cooled down and we settled and everybody said their apologies, yeah, just let me not say that, but yeah, everybody said their apologies. She now tells me the dream. I start laughing. I was like, "Yeah, dude, like, why would you go like that? That's so." They were trying to stop you from doing the thing. They weren't even against you, you know. They just kind of have rough hands. That's how they are, my family. But yeah, yeah, yeah. See, she had a dream that happened, but I've never been beat up by any ancestors in dreams. I've never been beat up by any ancestors in dreams. I've had ancestors literally. Okay, I already said that. Baby Gabwegu. Ah, Mikkel. Thank you very much for that. The alumni of the Kedu Academy. Thank you so much. I'm gonna post it in a post after this with a link because like I had to post it on Lulu. I had to like publish it on Lulu. Lulu's very outdated. It's hard to find things on there. Um, and so forth. So I'm just gonna post the link here. Are there different Abara that rule the year each month or day? Oh, kinda. I've heard of the concept of the year being seen as an Abara, and the Abara is Aro, Aro. Same Aro as Aro Binago. So, um, but yeah, I haven't looked too much into that. I haven't looked too much into that particular idea. And then the moon, of course, is Onwa. It's Onwa. So when I was breaking Auntie, I gave thanks to Onwa because I've had a very great moon. This has been special, right? It's been really special. So I did my felt me in the forehead. Hey, you guys, the ancestors don't play. $2 in my bank account. Hold it for 3 years. Wait, what's going on? There are different bara that are okay, cool. Bruh, it gets the point across though. What does the character Ugochi's mean? So, Ubochi was the name. Ubochi means day. So that's an interesting part of the story that I would like to know maybe you guys' thoughts on what that was about. If you don't know what I'm referencing a story that I told in my video, Ritual Explained, in my most recent video. And I told the story of a person who wanted to know what Aghu knew. And so he did a series of rituals to summon Aghu so he can receive the power of Aghu. And Aghu gave him the knowledge and power of Aghu, but it came at a great price. Now, I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert. The full story is on my most recent video, Ritual Explained. Burubuchi means day, right? Now, if you want to go deeper, right? And Ubo is a platform or a vehicle. It's like a plane that exists for things to stand on, right? For things to be on, an Ubo, right? So an Ubo, hold on, specifically a man, like a not man-made, but like a deliberately made platform. Oh, my nose is running. This is, you know what I mean? I'm just not gonna be cool. That's just destiny, you know. But it's whatever. So yeah, ubochi means day. So the concept of ubochi being used as day is this idea of it's like the chi, or in this case the sun. Chi and sun are interchangeable. Chi and ang are interchangeable. So the ubochi is almost like this boat that carries the sun across the sky and back to the darkness, and then does the cycle again and again and again. Which, you know, I'm here making all these jokes about you guys telling me I'm from damn Egypt. Uh, but yeah, the people of Kemet said the same thing too. The people of Kemet said the same thing. They depict it in their art with the boat and the sun and that kind of thing. So, whatever. Hold on. Please give me a shout out, brother. Yeah, shout out to you. How do you hear your chi? This is a good question. And the only reason hesitating, not hesitating, but I'm taking my time to answer it because my answer is going to be boring. But your chi is always talking to you at all times. Your chi is what you're hearing. How do I explain this? Your chi is not something that peeps in and says something, right? It is you. It's constant. Everything that is you is communication from your chi. So there's an ilu that says when a person searches for their chi, they find themselves. When a person searches for themselves, they find their chi, right? So your chi is you. It's the things like, what does your chi want? Your chi wants that thing that you want, right? What is your chi? That chi is that thing that you are. Okay, what is that? Now you begin the journey of figuring that out, right? You begin now. There's some things you can want that are not of your chi, right? Here's an example. Whatever that your chi is giving to you gives you life, right? Whatever your chi wants for you gives you life. If it doesn't give you life, it's something else. Whatever your chi sends you to do will be, you will succeed in doing it. It will fruit, right? That kind of thing. If it's not, that's not what's happening, then it's not your chi. So your chi is your absolute truth. And or your chi speaks your absolute truth. That's the best way to say it. And nobody's chi is the same. Everybody has the uwabo madana chia. The world is each person and their chi, right? So at the same time that your chi is your absolute truth, I can't tell you what your chi like I can't tell you what your chi is saying to you, and you can't tell me what mine is saying to me, right? It's up for me to see it manifest through you and accept or not accept. I don't know, but I can never tell you that kind of thing. Hold on, where are we at? So just do what's creative for enrichment. No money. The algorithm changed recently. I've been getting more small channels recommended. Oh, okay, good, good, good. Because they've been abusing me like every just swearing that all I want to watch is Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan. It's like they're like, what is this? Maybe I have like a contract with them or something, but yeah, I just can't. And recently, yeah, my recommendations have been a lot better, and I've been getting smaller channels and channels that are more specific to my interests. Oh, what is going on? Y'all, I swear, I don't. Hold on. Algorithm changed recently. I've been getting smaller channels. I can't explain. Can you explain how your mom practiced Abrahamic religion, but in an Odinani way? You don't have to answer if it's too personal. I'm curious if it will help me understand syncretic religions in the Caribbean. So my mom's just straight up Christian, so I don't know how to explain it. And you know, everybody says this, and so it's kind of cliche, but Odinani is not really a religion, right? So it's not, it doesn't really come in conflict with a religion. It's the other way around. It's usually the religion that has the issue with the Odinani, where it decides, like, without any real evidence that they can't coexist, right? That kind of thing. But there's nothing traditional that you'll put in front of my mom and she'll like have an issue because she knows what it is. She knows what she's, well, what's going on. Um, but yeah, no, she doesn't do. It's not like it doesn't look like a Santeria situation or anything like that. She goes to church. She gives them too much damn money. She comes home. She does her. She has a little Bible study group on the like on the phone, like most Nigerian moms do. Be shouting in the morning for no reason, or walking around doing this. Yeah, she's just a regular Christian, but she just doesn't have any issues with her tradition. That's all it is. She doesn't have any really issues with her tradition. And she said that, she's like very knowledgeable about it, right? She just never looked at it as a religion or as like as contrary, despite what the church says. She never looked at it as contrary to what she's doing in church, um, and so forth. And she never really, unlike a lot of African parents, honestly, she never really tried to like force it on us. You understand? She's like, if you wanted to hang out with her, hey, we're going to church, right? If you don't want to hang out, okay, fine, but I'm going to church, right? And so forth. So sometimes, like when I like, even now, I mean, I haven't done it in like years, but like if I want to spend time with her, we're gonna go to church, that kind of thing. But it's not in conflict with anything. If I'm there and they're like, oh, your ancestors are the devil, I'll walk out. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to hear that fucking. But if you want to tell me about how the dude got swallowed by the whale and shit, and that means you gotta keep being persistent, yeah, I'll listen to that, no problem. But yeah, it's not like she doesn't do like anything that's like looks like what you'd see in the Caribbean, right? I think a lot of the mixing in the Caribbean came more so from having to hide what you're doing, right? Having to hide, not necessarily having a problem with it, but somebody with an undue amount of power over you having a problem with what you're doing. So now you got to make it look like you're going to church or make it look like you're doing a baptism when you're doing something else, right? So I think that's how the Caribbean, why, and North America with the Black American population and the Gullah Geechee, not Creole, just the whole Louisiana, the whole South, and even into the North because that's where everybody comes from. Same thing, I don't think it's coming from trying to merge the two things. It's coming from doing the African thing but hiding it. That's where that mix. My theory, that's where that mix comes from. So she has no reason to hide it. What she's doing. She has no reason to hide it. My father's a titled man, so he's not like if we do these things, it's normal. You know what I mean? And she's his wife. So it's not. There's no stigma in my house about it. So like her dad was, a very strong Christian, very known for his faith, but he was also like one of like the higher ranked members of the Ekeleke masquerade society. So whenever, and I don't see the conflict, So that was a good question. We need Mama Fodder. Yeah, 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 yes. We've been working on getting her channel. We've been working on getting her channel, but she's already. I'm gonna be frank. She gets started getting cold feet. But everybody in my family's gonna kill me. I'm talking too much on this live today. But we're celebrating. We're at 15,000 subs, so we're gonna talk too much. But yeah, yeah. She got cold feet. She got cold feet. So I'm just gonna try to ginger her back up. Like, hey, I already told people you're coming, so you gotta get with it. But just give her time. She's overthinking it. That kind of thing. Like I feel that people, and maybe a generation above me and so forth, they don't understand the idea of going live in front of people with a runny nose, right? They're all about like presentation and because they grew up on like television at most, right? And presentation and da. They don't know that people are here live chewing gum on a microphone and what I mean, yelling about 50-50 dates. Like it's not that deep. So we're trying to get her to a little more so she can represent herself. She also has, I mean, I'll let her tell her story, but she had like she had a thing happen that kind of made her anxious about a lot of things like this. So, but I'll let her share her story. I think more movement. I think more movement than less movement is scary. Okay, yeah. I think all that shit it's pretty creepy. My grandma passed last Easter. And I had three dreams. One, my grandma handed me a baby. Wow, he said Found out I was pregnant. He said, my farm withered and died. Huh. I watched my kids fade away into a huge crowd and I lost them. Ooh, okay. So the first half of that gave me a lot of light. The last half of it, I'm not gonna add to any feelings that you may be feeling from them, but that was a lot. But that's beautiful. One of the things I would recommend is, or I would say, is there is a chance. Like, so there's this thing in Odinani, and people debate it whether mothers know who is in coming back, who is incarnating through them, right? Who is coming back through them. And I am of the very, very, very strong belief that a woman knows who's returning when she gets pregnant. And one of the ways she knows is they have dreams. You'll have like dreams, right? You'll have dreams. And yeah, that sounds like that could be her in your stomach coming back, right? Her soul, as they say in the Abrahamic religions, right? But the other ones, I don't know. I'm not a dream interpreter, so I don't. This is just me saying you and I are probably on the same level as far as interpreting dreams. I'm not a dream interpreter, but if you want somebody to take a look at that, we have a DBL we work with on Patreon. So I don't know. Said rough hands, yeah. Within 24 hours, grandmother dying, I saw her riding her horse as fast as she could and probably out of the earth. Wow. Hey guys, thanks for sharing these stories, by the way. This is cool. Maybe because Agon is usually associated with nights, so Ubochi Day had to experience darkness. Oh that was dope. I like that. Could be right. Could be right. Can we get a video about dreams? Yes, do a video of dreams. Okay, so the best way to get a video done is to comment it under a video. So, because what I do is I'll go to all like the recent comments since my last video, and then I'll see what people have been asking for, and I'll put it up for a vote. So if you ask on the live, I can't. If you ask on a live, I can't go back to the comment when I do the count. So just find a random video, be like, do a video on dreams. And then I'll be like, okay, I'll check it out. Thanks so much. Okay, I'll do my Allah is male or female, or does it matter? I believe Allah is male, and then Allah has a wife named Alat with a T. This is my knowledge. Um, I think I learned that shit from like Brother Polite or something. So I could be wrong, I don't know. So, but I believe now I'm being for real. Like Allah has a wife, and I think the name was Alat or something like that. So Allah is male, Allah is female. Allah is what they refer to as a lord, right? Which is like every land has its possessing spirit, which is its Lord. So Yahweh, Israel, Allah, maybe Arabia, I'm not sure. Some villages in Igbo land, Amadioha, other villages Ekwensu, other villages Anyanwu, other villages Udo, and that kind of thing. It's usually the male husband of the land is the Lord, right? So Allah is a Lord, but they've tried to make Allah into the big shebang, right? But that wasn't the original thing. They were just trying to, it's politics. Do you know what it means if a witch tries to get you in your dream? Coffee, cake, and conversation. I wish I had an answer because that is serious business, but I don't. I can't interpret. I'm not a dream interpreter. I don't know how to interpret dreams. We do have a DBA on Patreon that can help if you're interested. Um, but you're okay. Well, here's keep your hands clean, right? Keep your hands clean. Ndi will say that water cannot swallow you if you don't. Okay, water does not consume whom it doesn't touch its feet. Something like that. I hope I worded that correctly. Like water has to touch your feet before it swallows you. And so what that Ilu is basically saying is in order for a witch to be able to do something to you, you have to one, dip your feet in it, consent, will it, or have bad ogun. Bad, it was bad ogun. So you have done, you've broken universal law, karmic law, right? Karmic law, and then you have a pending consequence, which can speed up that consequence by way of you conceding something, but keep your hands clean, atone for anything you've done, and you'll be fine. You have nothing to worry about. Uh, have your hearing your chi is listening to universal intuition, yes. Wisdom, yes. Things that feel good, yes. Your chi speaks volumes through dreams. Your chi is what makes. Yeah. Eating feel good. You got it. You got it. You got it. Your chi is that. It's that It's that. It's the original truth. So people always like, how do you know your chi? Your chi is the thing. Everything else is almost like, you know what I mean. If it's true, it's your chi. I'll go that way. I need advice. All right. I recently started working at a college as a junior and secretly solve math equations while working. The professors there want me to be a mathematician, but I just want to vibe. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me get this straight. So you're working as, I think, a janitor, right? Okay, you're a janitor at your college, and you just get you just get like that urge. Sometimes you see a little math equation, and you're just like, you know what? Let me see if I can round this to the nearest tenth, and then you do it, and people come back and they're like, "Damn, a janitor did this? A janitor did this?" And you're like, yeah, that was me. And they're like, listen, we need you to be a mathematician. You can be more than a janitor, right? You can be more than a janitor. You're like, no, man, no, man, that's just not me. That's just not me, man. You don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. Listen, man, that's a hard problem to have. I don't have an answer, right? I don't have an answer for that one. But I think you'll work it out. And I think anybody that probably understands the reference that you are making would appreciate your efforts in mathematics. So thank you. I'll do my... Jeremy, do whatever. Oh. Hey, we got such good people in here. Jeremy's trolling, yo. Jeremy's trolling, but I like that you're trying. I like that you're answering him because, like I said, we got good people here. Jeremy, hey, welcome. I've never seen your name here before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I'm sorry to fight. I'm sorry if I almost went down outside my house. I got distracted. So I'll ask the question directly. Is each market day controlled by I like how the first part of that statement and the last one has zero transition. It's just like yeah. Each market day is you can call each market day an abara. Yes, each one. Or let's put it this way. Each market day is like neighborhood that Abara live in, if that makes sense. Each market day is a neighborhood that Abara live in. So you can call that, sorry, you can just call the name of that neighborhood and treat that neighborhood as an Abara. Cover everything within that neighborhood, right? So if I say shout out to Brooklyn, right? I just shouted out the whole Brooklyn, right? So that kind of thing. So yeah, if you want to say that the market is for Abara, absolutely, it makes perfect sense. Is Allah male or female, or it doesn't matter? Or is that a repeat question, or did I go backwards? Allah is male, and I think Allah has a wife named Alat, according to the Hebrew Israelites probably. John Eke is the first market day. Okay, that's an answer. How does Igbo people deal with DV in the family by men? Oh, good question. Do other men deal with that, or does something else happen? How are family issues dealt with in the community? Okay, so traditionally, and this is going to vary by family and arrangement, that kind of thing. So traditionally, there's a lot of avenues and a lot of things that happen when DV happens. Um, the wife can, if it's like, I mean, the abused spouse, let me say that the abused spouse or the friends and fam, like people close to that abused person can call this other spouse to trial, right? To trial. And then that trial is held by whoever holds the all fall within the family. Um, if that person's judgment is not agreed on by both people, they can appeal to a council of people that have titles, a council of titled people. If that is not satisfactory to people, they can go to an albara or go to something more serious. But at the end of the thing, there's usually a solution set. Okay, this is what we're going to do going forward. And if that doesn't happen, then XYZ. Now, one of the things that tends to happen as far as Igbo land goes is that if there is a wife is still connected to, like, let's use in the case of the wife, a wife is still connected to her the community she comes from, where she was born. And so when there's abuse against the wife, the community can come in her defense, right? So the community come in her defense and, hey, this is what's going on. We don't like what you're doing to our daughter, this and this and that. You didn't tell us this was part of the plan, and so forth. Um, there are situations where it's so extreme. Like, for example, they have in Oguta, right? They have in Oguta. Many of them in different communities, but the one I know well is Oguta. They have like the Nemiri people, the people of Nemiri. Anybody people who break like a social bond, or like maybe they don't fit in somehow, some way, they can go and kind of just live amongst that community and just be with that community. It's not really considered a divorce, but you now have Nemiri's protection, right? She takes in any and everybody, and so forth. And so that's one that I see, especially when it's like super extreme as far as domestic violence. Um, and then, the you kind of last case scenario, divorce is really easy back in the day. Divorce, if a woman wanted to divorce you, just get up and go back to her paternal home, or go back to her paternal home. That's why when I ask you guys, where are you from? Well, my mom's from here. And I said, what you're actually saying is that there's something going on there. You're not saying that, you're not like, maybe you think you're like showing respect to your mom by saying where she's from, but your mom chose to be where your dad's from. So that's just you don't need to do that, right? Just say where your dad's from. But if you say this one, then okay, something's going on. That's what it says. Or that, like, I don't know who my dad is, but there's a general idea that he might be from there. Those are the only two situations where like you'd be saying both places. But either way, yeah, if a woman one just go, she can go home. People will appeal to her. The community, the husband's community will come in, please come back, this and that. People will try to appeal to her, but it wasn't common back in the day. Like, it was very, very, very uncommon, but it was also easy to do somehow. Um, it was also seen as a thing of shame for the woman, because like, oh, just kind of old school, you failed to be a wife kind of shit, so you don't want to come home and have all these heifers back in your hometown laughing at you, which literally was the problem. So yeah, there was a lot of ways to deal with domestic violence. um, I would I would also want you guys to remember that what an American might consider, or a modern person might consider domestic violence, maybe wasn't always considered domestic violence in the past. But like, if you're drawing blood, if you're causing injury, if you're abusing somebody, especially like well past the point of like where it's like, oh, okay, this person, something's going on, then yeah, But like a slap, I'm sure, I think they just stopped slapping women worldwide like 15 years ago. Unfortunately, that's just what the world has been. So, there's a lot of cases in Africa of women beating their husbands. It's very common. It's very, very common. I used to have this family. I'm not gonna say that. I used to live near this family, and what would happen is the wife was extremely violent and abusive, and she was significantly bigger than the husband, and so she just started beating him up, and then he would call the police, but then the police would arrest him. It happened two times. But we being in the community, we knew what actually happened, but if there's a two-way exchange in America, they're gonna separate the man more often. But she's a piece of shit. She's really beat him up, and I think I'm sure they're fine now, but they're old now. But yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of different things that can be done as far as that goes. But a lot of it is external intervention, a lot of external intervention, um, and so forth. Yeah. Is there a reason why people cover themselves in white chalk? Yeah, there are many. There are many. But unzu is like more represents spirit. So over the eye, my spiritual eye, my third eye, or seara, is open, right? Over the eye. Sometimes on the body, madu namor, that it shows the unity between madu namor. Some you'll see like lines on the feet, they're walking a spiritual path. It's like you use it to communicate. It's ritual. It's ritual. So you're using it to communicate a general idea. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons why unzu is used. This very wise person tell me that in a lot of religions where you see white robes and white cloth, that it originally started as nzu or powder, some type of like not nzu but like a white powder. You started as powder, then it became white cloth. I thought that was really interesting. I've never confirmed it though, but I can see it. Uh, Bro, what's the difference between you and midnight? Okay. Hold on. Allah doesn't have a wife named Alat. It was I guess are Almanats. They were daughters of Allah. In the Quran, the Arabs worshiped them with Allah, and Muhammad told them not to. Okay, do these daughters have a mother? Do the daughters have a mother? Right? Do the daughters have a mother? I have four boys, and this one I have four boys, and this one we are waiting to see is going around. Already thought it might be my grandma coming back. Okay, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Hey, thanks for sharing. Congrats, by the way. Congrats. Can you help me with my calculus homework, please? Honestly, I don't think I'm that good at calculus. I didn't get that as far as math goes, so I'm probably not the best at calculus. Try Chat GPT. KM, try Chat GPT. Just type it in, it'll tell you the answer. Bro, it's the wrong place for math problems. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen to reticulating spines. Congratulations. Adahe, ndewo, ndewo. Hey, good seeing you. Thank you. The other two dreams, the other two dreams have, I can't read. I'm winding down. The other two dreams have me the feeling, okay, give me the feeling that we need to let go of something physical and embrace our kids over everything else. Interesting. All three dreams happened 3 days in a row and spoke to me. Well, that's powerful, and I'm glad that you're looking into it with an open eye and taking it seriously. So, dreams are incredible. I hope I dream tonight. I think a blue genie would be better. I think a blue genie would be better than a janitor. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that janitor question was funny. That was very clever. Whoever did that was a very intelligent guy. We That's the type of trolling I want to see. I had some Tariq. I go, you are the dark at midnight. It's like, all right, Tariq, kind of, you got me, fucking weirdo. But that Goodwill Hunting shit, that was brilliant. A1 troll, like, hey, can you help me out? I'm a janitor. A1 trolling. I want to see that. That's what I want to see. Put in the work. Make it smooth. They'll just come in here with some our women are virgins bullshit. Tariq. We shall see. Particularly, okay, all right. Can anyone create a 1C? Yes, yes, anyone can. Greetings, my brother. Thank you so much for mentoring African spiritual. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Alakuban. Thank you. Game of life. Thank you. Cool, John. You're welcome. In Igbo culture, I've seen many of the high priests have a hand patted on their chest and on their backs. Those that represent. So in Uli or in Sibiri, a hand, the palm says ancestor or spirit. The palm says ancestor or spirit, the palm, right? So when you see a palm, that means ancestor, right? Ancestor, ancestor. That's just all that is ancestor. Use it, but use a palm print is ancestor, okay? Or spirit, right? But I'm sure you can see the through line between ancestor and spirit. But that's what that means. That's what that means. So commonly you'll see palms, you'll see like the lines on the eyes, you will see what they now call the Star of David, looks like the Star of David, a triangle, triangle, um, which is Akonuche, right? You will see, I'm trying to think of some like common ones. Yeah, those are the ones that you'll typically see on people's bodies and stuff like that. Very common. If you go to some place like Ohafia, they get real funky with it. So that makes sense. What is Nzu powder used for? Nzu powder is used for everything. Nzu powder can be an offering to your ancestors, it can be an offering to an abara, it can be an offering to a spirit. Nzu is water. Water is Nzu. So they carry the same spiritual properties between Nzu and water. They carry the same general purpose. So understanding that it's water, it's going to have the same properties as water. It represents purity. That's another thing I forgot to say. When people put Nzu on their hands, it means my hands are clean, my hands are pure, right? And if you think about it very logically, like if you put your hands in powder, right? If you messy it anyhow, we can easily see it. It's like transparency, right? If you touch anything else, it's very obvious. But if it's just pure Nzu, we know that there's nothing on your hands are clean. So Nzu represents cleanliness, purity, transparency, truth, honesty, uh, peace, new beginnings. So, for example, when a baby is born, the mother will have like a big thing of Nzu, and people will come and she'll take the crushed Nzu and put that on her Nzu on the people that are coming, because she has this particular type of energy that's very high, known as Omomo, which is the procreative, creative, and manifesting energy. So she shares that with the people that come and visit her as a gift. Um, so Nzu is used for all those things. Nzu is used to write. Nzu is used medicinally, right? I know on a very basic level, you can use Nzu for like stomach problems. Pregnant women use Nzu when they get like, I want to say it's pica, where you feel like eating ceramics or clay or something, they'll eat Nzu. Well, and then you can use Nzu as a snack. Nzu is delicious. You can just eat it and you'll be chilling and eating Nzu. That's not uncommon. It's very, very, very good for you. My wife had Nzu cravings when she was pregnant, and my daughter was born able to turn her neck. And the nurse there called her senior nurse to come check it out, and then like she didn't tell us that she thought it was a problem. When the senior is like, "Oh no, no, it's fine. This happens a lot," and then we just kind of looked at the nurse like, "You just called the nurse on us? The fuck?" Well, yeah, my daughter was born 53% Nzu, and she was able to turn her neck, and she's very strong and healthy and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Where do you get cola nuts? So I try to buy them in person, but I'm gonna just start buying them online. I'm gonna start buying them online. You can get them from anywhere. My my father-in-law, my father-in-law, I was with him this week, or I mean this month. Let me say, not this week specific. Yeah, this month, and he had Nzu from or Colonial from Nigeria, and these things look like works of art. Like that's how. That's how ancient my mind is. I've become. I say that as a good thing. I was looking. I was like, man, them things are like they look immaculate. He had some that would break in fives. He had like it was just like immaculate. But he got them straight from Nigeria. But you can get them on you can get them on Amazon and different places like that. Do temples have certain rules about being clean? Yeah, yeah, they do. Excuse me. If you understand, all sacred spaces have the same general kind of ethos around them. And so temples, shrines, they have the exact same as well. The exact same. Now some of them, with certain abara, they'll be very, very, very specific. Like you have to wear white. Okay, when you come here, you can't be wearing yellow. When you come here, you can't. Uh, maybe do these certain things or say these certain words, right? And that's when we're talking about like Irish, like shrines, right? So yeah, they all have their rules, but the people who host them, okay, hey, I gotta tap out. People who host them will explain what those rules are. Hold on. Oh, my eyes are like watering. All right, Joe. Before I get accused of being high again, I think it's time to tap out. This has been a really good conversation. I was wilding out in the beginning. I wasn't trying to wild out today. Hold on. Certain areas of land, rivers, odd shapes, rocks, and sacred spaces. Do those? Okay, I'll answer this one. Certain areas of land or rivers or odd-shaped rocks were seen as sacred spaces. Do those have rules about being clean? Each one's going to be different to an extent. Um, each one's going to be different to an extent. So there are some actually that they don't clean and they deliberately don't clean. There are some where they clean meticulously. Right. So yeah. In Odinani and Odinala seems if you live life in terms and pursuit of being true to yourself, doing Odinali. Yeah. Ultimately, like I can give you the training wheels, but ultimately you're going to be doing something different than what I do, right? Oh, that's gross. Ultimately, oh my God, that's disgusting. But yeah, man, damn, bro. I'm never gonna get that heartthrob status, man. Oh shit. Oh man. So as I was saying, ultimately everybody's gonna follow Odenala and Odenani their own way. And they're going to bring forth something totally different from the person that maybe they introduced to or their neighbor or their family and things like that. That's normal. It's just been a normal feature of it. It is somehow both intensely personal and intensely communal, if that makes sense. I don't know. I said later. You said that in Igbo culture, you bastard. Saying this is like all snotting on the damn live. Women, that's interesting because I didn't grow up in Igbo culture. How do they? Reticulating spines, we've mastered it. Oh man, I don't even have the energy to laugh the way I want to laugh. All right, y'all. I gotta hop. This is probably gonna get unhinged. Um. Yeah. Bring that question next time. We'll have a more focused discussion on it. So this has been a great conversation, guys. Thank you so much for um just again, just the fact that I can just turn on this live and see a lot of the same names that I've been seeing for ages, and everything you guys have shared with me, and just just everything. So thank you so much for this community. Thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you so much for your path and your journey and how boldly and bravely you guys have committed to it. So as always, gade, geto. I'm gobla noti aka gade no wa. Gade otu aneke lori nafo ankwa. He said, I might delete this one though. I'm not about to have my nose running on replay forever. So I don't I'll do blah. Jashika, take care, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you. Huda. Oh, I appreciate you. I'll do more. Cool. No one can- Well, damn, I care. What the heck? Shit, the mute was worse. Yeah, the mute was worse. Don't worry about the nose. No. I gotta start taking these things seriously, guys. But anyways, take care, Udo. Udo.